What a weekend in sports. I mean, there's never a day off in what we have in America as part of our sports world. I mean, guys, think about it here. Without a doubt, would you not look at it like this and say that we're so thankful that in this country we get an opportunity to watch such great sports, and we got a great event coming up in 17 days, the NFL draft. What we saw over the weekend, we saw Ovechkin go by Gretzky. By the way, as great as that was, getting to 895, Alexander Ovechkin, let's not forget something. Let me get that total here. Let's not get crazy here about some of the greatest records of all time. And I agree with Xander. I heard Xander this morning on Birds 365 say, nobody in the world ever thought 894 would go down. I did. Here's another number. Remember something. That dude scored 92 goals in 1 year. What's made Ovechkin great is that in the back end of his career, he's been a better goal scorer than what Wayne Gretzky was. But here's a number that will never be broken. 2857. That's the amount of points he scored in the NHL. That's not going anywhere. Gretzky's the greatest goal point hockey player with the puck in history. There's no getting around it. I can make the argument the best all-around player in the history of the NHL is Bobby Orr. Lemieux's in that conversation. That's a great all-around player. Not the defenseman, obviously, Orr was. But also Gordie Howe. I thought that was dope, though. And I thought it was great to see Wayne Gretzky there when Alexander Ovechkin broke that record. I'm a big hockey fan, as many of you know. It was awesome. Final Four also over the weekend. Xander and I were both right. I picked Auburn-Houston. He picked Florida and Duke. Last 2 minutes of the ball game, now you know why Duke misses Coach K. You missed Coach K in the final 2 minutes of that ball game against Kelvin Sampson. What a great coaching job. Kelvin Sampson, one of those coaches who you hope ends up getting a national title because he's been such a good basketball coach. And by the way, I think that was the 7th appearance for the Houston Cougars making it to the Final Four. All those great Olajuwon teams that they had back in the day. I mean, just tremendous basketball, that Houston program. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget something. Who do you think was going to get the calls at the end of the game? Duke or a Houston team that's a couple hours away from San Antonio? What'd you think that was going to, and where'd you think that was going to land? Well, that wasn't a good call on flag. No shit. You're in San Antonio, Texas. I mean, what'd you think you were going to get? You were going to get the call and it was Greensboro? You're not getting that call in San Antonio, Texas, minutes into a game where the outcome determines who goes and plays tonight. Are you crazy? I mean, yeah, that's right. I mean, hey, I get it. Duke thinks they're in Greensboro every time they play a NCAA basketball game. Well, I mean, what are you talking about? You're not getting that. Couple hours away. There you are. You're right there in San Antonio. Hey, let's give Duke the call and bump Houston out of the finals. Not happening. Coach K, man, you were sorely missing that final. 17 days until the NFL draft, one of the great events now, I guess, in America. They're even pimping this bitch out for TV rights. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. Today, Gary Cobb at 4:30. And as promised, because of scheduling difficulties, Frank Reich, who was supposed to go on Friday, is on today. He's at 3:30. So we will talk to him. I'll find out if the Eagles gave him a courtesy call and asked him to become the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles before they gave it and elevated Kevin Patullo. So I'll do that. So we'll ask him, what's it like? I mean, did he have any thoughts about maybe being a consultant this coming football season to the Eagles? How about this? Does he rule out ever coming back to the Philadelphia Eagles? Okay? Hey, by the way, Wayne Gretzky's a friend of mine. He used to be my NHL analyst when I had him on all the time, my radio show, when I was out west. He'd come on during the playoffs every week. What an absolutely tremendous man, ambassador of the sport. And I will do this to you guys. I will make this. He's probably one of the top 5 athletes ever to play in North American sports, and that includes Babe Ruth. He still owns over 80 records in a game where they have changed it. Can you imagine Wayne Gretzky? Hey, Xander, can you imagine Wayne Gretzky playing in a sport where you have an instigator rule and people can't goon him? He'd score 100 goals. They used to goon him. They used to have a guy named Marty McSorley who used to protect him. Now that you don't need those guys, my God almighty, if you had Wayne Gretzky in today's NHL, I'm not diminishing Alexander Ovechkin at all. But if you had Wayne Gretzky on in today's game, he'd score 100 goals. Wait a minute. I'll up that. 130, because one year he almost scored 100. He had 92. That was one of the greatest North American athletes, world athletes, that's ever played in sports. He's the Babe Ruth of the NHL. When you see Wayne Gretzky, that's Babe Ruth. What a player, man. Unbelievable. And that team he played on, that Oiler team, was insane. And how good those guys were. So we'll have Frank Reich on today at 3:30 early in the program. You know, that leads me to this. Before we get going, a little fun topic here. I wrote down these records that I said will never be broken. You know, we saw something and we were talking about it earlier this year and at the end of 2024 with Saquon Barkley. You know, he was going for 2105. That was Eric Dickerson's number. Do you think you'll ever see anybody break that record? People are going to break that because there's going to be an 18-game schedule coming up here really soon. But I wrote down some numbers. Maybe you guys want to add some. Wayne Gretzky's number of points in the NHL career will never be touched. 2857. Just to put it in perspective, Ovechkin would have to play another 10 years to get close to that. Number 2, I got Cy Young's 511 wins. You'll never see a 300-game winner again, let alone somebody who's going to win 500 ball games. That's not happening. Pete Rose is 4256. Most hits in a career. Never be touched. Too many people take the walk of shame now. You're not going to see a hits guy like that and a guy play that long. Rose played 25 years. You'd have to play 25 years and average 176 hits to break that record. Nobody will ever break that record. That's not happened. Okay? 4256 is not ever going to be broken. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was an all-star at 5 different positions. And we did one of the very last interviews with Pete Rose right here with Big Sills. The Celtics winning 8 straight NBA championships. I don't think will ever be broken where you'll see any North American team in the big 4 sports, hockey, football, basketball, and baseball, ever win 8 consecutive championships in a row. I think that was like from 59 to 66. that will never be touched. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak will never be touched. Why won't DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak ever be touched? You know why? Too many specialized pitchers today. Shit, you could go in a 9-inning ball game today and have 10 different pitchers throwing at you. You know, you don't really ever get a chance to see the starter, but maybe 2 times. And then after that, you're going reliever, reliever, reliever. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to make a prediction here for you. You ready? Rob Thompson will be fired by the end of the year. Okay? We just beat the Dodgers. So what? In an April series? That's so irrelevant. It's mind-numbing to even have that conversation right now. That's mind-numbing that you would even be talking that. Do you think what you did this past weekend against the Dodgers is going to fix your shitty bullpen? Come on, man. You think that's going to fix that bullpen? Never happened. You don't have a very good bullpen. And that will be the factor in the undermining of the Philadelphia Phillies like it always is. Okay. Hey, Charlie, we'll see if you have the bullpen to get it done. Sue's like, no, but we still won the series. So you're now the Cowboys, right, Sue? Consolation prizes. Congratulations to you. You get a nice parting gift and a nice gift bag on the way out the door after you get your ass swept out of MLB playoffs. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Hey, Sue wants a commemorative, hey, I participated in the playoffs bag. How you doing? All right, Sue. Cal Ripken's 26-32. I do not believe anyone will ever play that many consecutive ball games. By the way, I think that record's rigged. And I'll ask you this. What do you think is more impressive? Cal Ripken's 26-32 consecutive games played, or Brett Favre's 321 consecutive games played? What do you think is more impressive? I think the Favre record's more impressive, 321. Guy played with lacerated kidneys. You could come out after 5 2/3 and sit the bench the rest of the 3.5 innings. You don't have to play a complete game. You get credit after 5.5. Garrett played all 5.5. He played all 9. By the way, Ripken and Garrick, I think Garrick had a 340 lifetime average, hit nearly 500 home runs, like 1,900 RBI. I mean, come on, what are we talking here? Cal Ripken was good. He's great. He's a great player, but not that great. Garrick was great. I got Wilt's 100-point game. This all goes in line of what Ovechkin did this past weekend with the 895. It's a tremendous accomplishment. You know, you want to hear something sick? Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds the year he scored 100 points. You're never going to see something like that. Isn't it funny? Every time you mention the greatest basketball players of all time, Wilt's name, for some reason, he's excluded from that. This guy scored 50 points and averaged 25 rebounds a game. You're never going to see that. Chamberlain was insane. As good as Jabbar was, Wilt was the dude, man. Wilt's the GOAT. Michael Phelps is 28 medals, 23 gold in Olympic swimming. You're never going to see that. Now, I look at swimming a little different, and I'm not a big fan of Michael Phelps. Here's why. Half the world doesn't swim. Like what Usain Bolt did versus what Michael Phelps did. Dude, everybody runs. Would you rather be fastest swimmer in a pool at a yacht club? Or would you rather be the fastest man on the planet? I don't know. I'd rather be the fastest man on the planet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Usain Bolt, the fastest man on the planet. Michael Phelps, the fastest swimmer at a yacht club. I mean, what are we going to do next? The greatest equestrian guy? That's not going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Swimming is a yacht. You belong at a country club. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you belong at a country club with people playing polo, right? You got polo clubs and you're playing badminton and shit. You got equestrian. You play footsies in a pool. I don't know. I mean, somebody said to me, they go, Sills, don't you think Michael Phelps? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't really think much of his accomplishment. He's the greatest librarian of all time. I don't know. This guy, have you ever seen Michael Phelps? Did you see him at the Colonial Country Club? He was swimming laps around that guy that was from MIT. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I don't know, right? Yeah. Michael Phelps swimming laps around a guy at MIT. Yeah, sure, all right. Ricky Henderson's 1406 stolen bases will never be touched. Nobody steals bases today except Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, Rico. Hey, if you're good at Marco Polo in a pool, you got a shot at being the next Michael Phelps. I don't know. I just never thought much of him. Sills, wasn't that a great comp? Like when the Olympics were there and they're like, Sills, what about Michael Phelps winning his 23rd gold medal? I'm like, yeah, okay. So he beat a bunch of white guys in a swimming pool there at Marion Country Club. I don't know. Maybe our friend Merrill Reese called the race. I don't know. I mean, right? Jesus criminy. There's Michael Phelps. He's just won, and he's just beat Stan Cleve from Harvard. Oh, okay, I guess. I don't know. Holy shit. The guy's the greatest country club swimmer of all time. Again, listen, Ovechkin, great stuff, man. Great accomplishment. And I agree with Xander. That record was supposed to never come down. And what Ovechkin has done is he's really, if you look at the last 5 years of his career versus Gretzky's last 5 years, Gretzky had like 9 goals in his final season. Okay? I mean, so he's been more consistent of a scorer, man. Okay? Sills doesn't like swimming as much. No, what I don't like is, hey, let me ask you something here. That sport's real diverse. I mean, hey, if you wanted, when you think of diversity and going against the best athletes in the world, swimming's it. Oh, my God. Holy cow. Hey, yeah, that swimming is one of the greatest sports of all time. Hit the like button, guys. We appreciate you, dudes. All right. Big Sills, Eagles burning questions. Big Sills, NFL bold predictions. Best NFL off-season moves so far. I've got more edge rushers that I've put in order as we're 17 days out from the draft. And how about this? We have options at 32. Well, look at that. Let me go here with Saquon Barkley. How many more shelf life years do you think Saquon Barkley has? Let me give you some numbers here. How many more years do you think Barkley has? How many more years? 4 to 5. That's a fucking laugh. That's a joke. He's 27. Yes. 2 to 3. Fly, I'm more in there. 4 to 5. So, 2. Look at Steve. I'm praying for 10. How you doing, my man? Okay. 3 years. Depends on injuries. Does. Another Super Bowl worth of years. 4 to 5 is wild. Absolutely. How about this? Let's take a look at this. Every player that has ever gained 2,000 rushing yards in an NFL season, what did they do the following year? Most of these guys had great O-lines too. And here's the difference. You don't have a passing attack. Oh, but we do when we need it. Yeah, I know. Oh, okay. So you pay all that money, put it in a barn, and when you need it, you take it out so you don't get your money's worth until you need it 19 weeks later. That's not how that works. So let's take a look at it. 1973, O.J. Simpson. 2003 rushing yards. Came back the following year, 1125. Not awful. Especially in a 14-game season. Not awful. 1984, Eric Dickerson. 2105. Previous, he went 1880. Then he went 2105. His third year, 1234. Not awful. 1987. Barry Sanders, 2,053 rushing yards. Came back, 1491. Not awful. Actually, that's great. Probably the best year of any back that gained $2,000 and came back the next year and almost touched 1,500 yards. 1998. Terrell Davis, 2008. Following year, 211 yards. 2003. Jamal Lewis, 2,066 rushing yards with the Ravens. Next year, 1,266. Not awful. 2009. Chris Jones, 2,006 rushing yards. Came back the following year, 1,364. Not awful. 2012. Adrian Peterson, 2,097. Came back the next year, 1,266. Not awful. Derrick Henry, 2020. 2027. Next year, 937 yards. What will Barkley do? Oh, and by the way, for the record, last 3 years, I thought it was a little bit more closer than I thought. I thought it was closer than I thought. Derrick Henry had 4,626 yards and 41 touchdowns with the shitty Tennessee Titans. Barkley had 4,279 yards and 29 touchdowns. As a matter of fact, the only of the two guys that made the playoffs in the last 3 years, prior to this last year, Barkley's been to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. Henry hasn't. I mean, Derrick Henry's been a model of consistency, actually, outside of that 1 year when he got hurt the following season. After that year where he gained 2020 and 21, he still ended up 11th in rushing that year. So not bad. Now, here's something else to think about. Saquon Barkley had 672 carries in 3 years at Penn State. In his career in the NFL, and he led the NFL in rushing attempts last year with 345. You add into postseason, it's over 400 touches. And I haven't added the postseason here. Regular season-wise, Saquon Barkley has 2,218 carries with 2 knee injuries inside of that 10 years, counting the 3 years at Penn State. How much tread does he have left on the tire? By the way, I haven't made a prediction yet, or I haven't made a statement yet. I'm telling you what he's done. Okay? Seals, to play devil's advocate, did any of other running backs you name have the best O-line in football like we did in 24? OJ had two Hall of Famers on the O-line. Dickerson had Jackie Slater, Dennis Harrah, Newberry. They had the best O-line in football. Eric Dickerson had the best O-line in football. Every year that O-line was intact in Los Angeles, they were in the top 3 in rushing. Every year that Jackie Slater had Eric Dickerson. Barry Sanders had a good O-line. Eric Andelsack, Lomas Brown. There were some good players, but not the best. Terrell Davis had the best O-line in football with Alex Gibb. Hey, if my friend's in here, Bob Brown, Bob, tell these folks about Alex Gibb. Everything you see Jeff Stoutland doing, Alex Gibb was the godfather of zone blocking. He was the godfather of zone blocking and considered one of the top 3 O-line coaches in the history of the sport. He was the Jeff Stoutland of his time, was Alex Gibb. Look it up. Read a book. Jamal Lewis had a really good O-line. Not a great one like the Eagles. I think it's fair to think Barkley should get to 1,200 yards rushing this year as long as the O-line keeps blocking with the threat of Hurts' legs. That's a great take. It's a great take. Adrian Peterson had a good O-line. There were some good people in that offensive line. Randall McDaniel was in that line, Hall of Famer. Henry had a good O-line. There were a couple all-pro guys in that line. Nothing like you see in Philly, though. Barkley does have, of all these guys that gained $2,000, I say Barkley's had the better O-line. I would say that. That's fair. Some really great offensive line coaches that were involved in this. Remember something. John Robinson was the O-line coach at USC for John McKay. He's a great O-line coach. Okay? He was a great O-line coach. Now, that helps. Remember when Brian Westbrook came on the program? He made the comment about Barkley not getting contact until he's 1 or 2 yards into the line of scrimmage. That's a factor. Remember something. He wasn't getting hit by linebackers. And he wasn't getting hit by DTs. This guy was getting hit by linebackers and safeties. That's a big difference. Then when you got to, thug it out and you're banging in there and you got a horrible O-line. Being fair, did any of those running backs have a prolific tush-push quarterback? I think not, sir. Jalen Hurts' tush-push is irrelevant to the MJ fadeaway and the skyhook of Kareem. Yeah, well, you don't have a passing game. That's why you're going to have to improve it. What do you think the yardage, after giving you the history of the 2,000-yard back, What do you think Saquon Barkley's going to do this coming season? Where do you think he lands? Just a prediction. Where do you think he lands? In a follow-up year to 2005 rushing. What do you think he lands? I'll write my number down right now. Plus, we're starting to talk about 2,600 carries counting the playoffs. This guy's going to be rolling around near 4,000 or 3,000 carries. 1,300 max. Okay, 1,300. 1,100. 1,500. The guy who had the most yards after a 2,000-yard rushing year was Barry Sanders. Almost 15. I'll tell you where I think he lands. For me, thank you for the super chats, guys. 1,400 yards because Jalen goes for 4K. Yeah, okay, right. Hurts will never throw for 4,000 passing yards. Ever throw for 4,000 passing yards. 1,673. Yeah, okay. 1,600. Now, no one's ever done that. But he will do it. With a quarterback who can't throw the ball. Saquon's going to break another. Okay. What milestone did? Oh, yeah, that's right. Adding up all the rushing yards. He had the. Okay, I got it. Yeah. 1,300. Shit. This guy's been saying this for 4 fucking years. How you doing? He's been saying that for 4 years. Has he not? That guy's been saying that for 4 years. $4,000, 30 TDs. Shit, last year he had 4,700 passing yards and 40 touchdown passes. I'm like, if that guy touches 3,600 passing yards, I'll be stunned. I'll be stunned. 1,673. Look at this here. Never happened. Never happened. Never. I say Barkley goes for 1,348. Guys, what's the big number though? It's not the yardage number. Hey, Sills, you going to do a live stream on the draft night? I may. Hey, wait a minute here. Okay? Okay? Okay, Jalen Hurts will get 10,000 rushing yards. Woo! Yee! Let me be as phony as this take. Yee! Woo! Sorry, Elizabeth. Jalen Hurts will get 10 grand this week. He'll rush for 10,000 yards in 1 week. Oh, man. Take shit for that later. Believe me. Hey, hit the like button. How you guys doing? All right. I'd say he does this. 1,350. And as long as he's at 6 yards a carry, it won't matter because he'll still be impactful. I hope A.J. Dillon, in my opinion, I hope this kid does take some of the heat off him. I hope he does. Because that'll keep that offense and that running attack as efficient as it was a year ago. Listen, if they split about 500 or 600 yards next year and he's still going at 6 yards a clip, does it matter? No. The problem is with this. I don't want to take that guy off the field. You know what I mean? I don't want to take him off the field. I appreciate when an analyst compare Hurts' career to Aikman when it comes to team around him and winning titles. Aikman never had crazy stats. Harv, I'm the first guy that brought that shit up. That said he reminded me more of an Aikman kind of guy and a Phil Simms guy. Never crazy stats, run the ball, play great defense. Well, you're not going to play great defense this year. Okay? No, you're not going to play great defense because you don't have great personnel. You have good personnel now. Not great. You have good personnel. Okay? But I want to reserve Barkley's impact to the game later in the season while having AJ take on damage. AJ's not taking any damage on. Okay? The impact that AJ Brown had a year ago was the fact that he was on the field. That's the impact he had. You still got to defend him. Hit the like button, guys. Give me a total on the likes. Appreciate you being here on this Monday. Thank you, guys. Says, I'm afraid a repeat might not happen. Roger Goodell is about to place a tariff on Jalen Hurts' tush pushers. We are in ruins. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. The Cowboys team had a great O-line and running game. Sound familiar? If you're trying to compare Saquon Barkley to Emmitt Smith, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Okay? Out of your mind to compare him. Every level that guy played on, he was exceptional. High school, college, and the pros. Counting the playoffs, Emmitt Smith had 20,000 rushing yards. Okay? Look at this. Well, that will never, ever come to a question, ever. Guy's got an MVP, 3 Super Bowl championships, and he's the all-time leading rusher. You'll wait at the door for that conversation because I will not have that. He's better? Where? Where is Barkley better than Smith in anywhere in his career? How about this? He hasn't been better in the last 3 years than Henry. And they both played on shitty teams. That same thing about our defense last year. You had better backups and you had more veteran experience a year ago. Hey, Mello, I'm about to make some bold predictions again. Bold predictions. For one season, he was better than Emmitt. All right, he was. And he put a Super Bowl on it. Absolutely true. The Super Bowl and the $2,000, he did. Sinbad, that's a fact. Did he have a better regular season than both Emmitt and Barry? Yes. Yes, he did. Okay. And Jim Brown. Yes. World championship? $2,000? I don't think Jim Brown, but then again, Jim Brown played in 12 games. He played in 12 games and had 1,900 yards rushing. So I don't know. You know, and he won a title. Can you imagine that? That guy had 1,900 yards rushing in 12 ball games. And he retired at the age of 28. That's what he did. Retired at 28. Did Jim Brown. I'll go into the movies. That's what he did. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. Look, man, I think Barkley's still going to be effective this coming season. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be around 1,400 yards, somewhere in the middle there. And I think he's going to probably be around 5.5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. I told you this last week, and I'll say it again. Eagle passing game has to carry the mail now because you took a blowtorch to your defense. And the number one, get this. The fact that you didn't have a very good offense, you had to have an exceptional running attack and an exceptional defense to win the Super Bowl. Now that you don't have that exceptional defense any longer, what gives? Someone else is going to have to up their game. Is it more rushing yards? No. It's got to be more in the passing game. Not until your defense at least comes around, right? All right. Blow torch to the number one defense. Holy shit. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Barkley's had 3,000, counting the postseason, 3,000 carries in his career. All right. We're going to find out. And in the last 5 years, he's had 2 knee injuries. He does have the benefit of having a great running quarterback that helps him. And he also has the fact that he has the best O-line in football. I'll say that. Correct. Barkley more talented. Smith a better player. Before I took a shit on you, Anthony, you're right. Because if that applies to Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers is a better, more talented player than Tom Brady. Brady's just a better player. Would you agree, Anthony? So I'm going to buy what you just said. Barkley more talented than Emmitt Smith. Smith a better player? Dude, Emmitt Smith never took minus yards. 5 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, 25 yards. You look up, he's got 25 carries for 150 yards. Backwards hurdle. So he had an Odell Beckham moment. And Smith had 3 Super Bowl moments. How you doing? Lamar has the speed and more agile, but Jalen more powerful. He's not more powerful than Lamar Jackson. Come on, dog. Stop that. He's more powerful than a guy who's gained $2,000 rushing and thrown for 4,000 yards. How are you saying that? Where? Jalen's on a better team. That's it. He's not a better. Now, I will say this about Hurts. I think Hurts sees the game better. And Jalen's not going to make mistakes like Lamar makes mistakes and does. I don't think Lamar is as smart a quarterback as Jalen Hurts. Does that make sense? I don't believe that Lamar is a smarter quarterback as Jalen. I think Jalen's a smarter QB. I think Jalen has a better feel for the game than Lamar. I think Lamar forces the game too much. Okay? Jalen's smarter. He's just a smarter guy. There's so many players that play in the game that are just not smart enough at that position. And they throw these ducks, or they don't throw to the right guy, or they don't throw at the right time. Okay? I mean, this clown just said Lamar ran for 2. No, dickhead. I said he ran for almost $2,000 twice. Get out of here. Jalen puts in the work. I think the one thing that I see, Steve, that Jalen's doing a lot better of, I think Jalen is putting more time into seeing and continue to improve on reading defenses, and he is putting the time in. He's a smarter guy than Lamar Jackson. And I mean football-wise. You know? By the way, I love Lamar. I think Lamar is a great ambassador to our sport. I think he's a great person in the Baltimore community. I think he's just a great example of hard work and people doubting you and winning a Heisman, winning MVPs. I just totally dig the guy. But when it comes to playing the quarterback position, Hurts is smarter. Yes, I think so. Dylan's an upgrade on Gainwell because I think you can use Dylan, if healthy. I think you can use him more in the red zone. By the way, Frank Reich will join us, the brand new head football coach at Stanford Cardinal at 3:30. On top of that, he was also your coordinator. Your coordinator, 2017, that won the Super Bowl. So we will talk with him. JD, thank you so much, guys. We're having a fun time here. Hopefully everybody else is too. Abe, if that guy's healthy. Now, look, pinched nerves. Here's Abe. Here's what A.J. Dillon has. Okay? I have one. You can have these things and you'll have them for the rest of your life. And it's probably high up on his neck. You can have a great year going on. You hit it, all of a sudden you're out 3 weeks. Shit, it could paralyze you to a point where it can make you miss the entire season. That's how detrimental those type of injuries. And you have to get CAT scan because it's neurological. Those pinchers and those burners like that. I mean, you'd almost rather break your arm than have one of those. I can't sleep normal at night because of what Ironhead gave me mine. Now, all of a sudden, you can reach down, grab something. It's crazy. You can reach down and grab something, it pinches it, and it sets it off. It can happen at any time. So that's why Green Bay probably moved on. Because, dude, if you look at him, they had Aaron Jones up there, right? This guy was a 500-600-yard carry guy. He's a good football player. And they probably just had to move on from him because that pinched nerve keeps acting up in critical times of the year. It is. Steve, it's scary because you could be playing along, everything's going great, wham! All of a sudden, feels like your arm's broke. I mean, then you have to go in, like I said, you got to get CAT scans. They keep you out because it's neurological. It's on your spinal cord. It's all that, man. It's a dangerous injury that could pop up at any time. Okay? Hold on. I'm lost. Jackson never had more than 1206. How did he have almost 2 years rushing at 1,000 yards? Holy shit. Can you listen? Try listening. Mud on. Mud on. Holy cow. Some of these people have the brain cell of a squirrel when it comes to listening. Try practicing that skill set of listening. Might help you. Holy cow. Hey, hate to come out swinging. Okay, by the way, here it is. In 2019, he had 1206. 2020, he had 1,000 yards, and last year he had 9. So I'll retract it. You're right. He had almost 3 years of rushing for 1,000 yards a year, and he threw for 4. Get this. This guy had 900 yards rushing this last year and threw for 4,000. How are you doing? Some of these people have the brain cell of a squirrel. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh, Maron. I do think that Jalen's smarter than him, though. Okay? Okay? Sills, not to be that guy, but okay, you shouldn't be the one. Hey, Crowley, when you're in my house, I'll lecture you anytime you're at my dinner table. When I'm at your dinner table, you get to lecture me. Fair? You're in my fucking house. I'm not in yours. How you doing? Don't get butthurt, Crowley. You know I love you. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. And there's old M. Reyes. Don't worry, Crowley. You know I love you, man. Is Howie really trying to trade Team McKee? Top 3. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? You think you're going to trade Tanner McKee, top 3 pick? And what? Top 3 pick in what? The 7th round? Come on, man. Come on, hey, in flight. If you put Tanner McKee on the open market right now, folks, what do you think you could get for Tanner McKee right now? What do you think you would get for him? Help this guy in flight out. It's not 2,000 yards rushing. This guy's a douche. Tanner McKee is untouchable. Oh, Pump. That's good. We'd get bars. We'd get a 7th round comp pick. Oh, man. Hey, Pump, don't you dare touch my guy, Sileo. Tanner McKee is untradeable. Of all the players on the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Tanner McKee is off the table when it comes to trading. I would never, ever in a million years trade him for that. In a million years. How you doing? Hands on. You guys are funny, man. Okay? You guys are funny. All right. Don't forget, our good friend is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. That is going to be Frank Reich, the brand new head football coach of the Stanford Cardinal and one-time OC for the Philadelphia Eagles, guiding them home to a world championship in the 2018 Super Bowl. We will get him on. That'll be at 3:30. We've already locked and loaded on that, and we appreciate it. A 5th if you're lucky. I think that might be true for Tanner. It's Tanner time. Yeah, in the preseason. Hey, M. Reyes, it's Tanner time. Yeah, when he plays those exhibition games, it'll be Tanner time. With the 7th round comp pick in the 2027 NFL draft, the Eagles select Todd McKee, quarterback, UCLA, Tanner's brother. You get the 2 McKee brothers. Holy cow, like the old basketball guys. Putting them there, right? Don't touch my guy. All right, let's move on here. Big Sil's Eagle questions. Top of the hour? We sure are. We are humming along here. Guys, do me a favor. Give me a total on the likes. Please, all super chats go to the top. We appreciate you guys. Crowley, you're not crying right now, are you? Don't. Hey, honey, I'm sorry. Here. I better give Crowley an apology. Crowley, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I don't want you to, if your panties are in a bind, Big Sills doesn't want to come out swinging. Okay? It's holy time. So I'm trying to be a good guy. Okay? Crowley, you all right? Thank you, Crowley. I don't want you to be upset, Crowley. Okay? Hey, Chris, I don't have to do shit, guy. How you doing? Dan, you know what I miss in the NFL? Quarterbacks calling their own plays. Remember Stabler looking up and out of the huddle and then calling the play? Dude, you want to hear something crazy? You want to hear something crazy about Terry Bradshaw? Terry Bradshaw never had an offensive coordinator. Okay? Then he never had a coordinator. He called his own plays. Those 4 titles in 6 years, Bradshaw was his own coordinator. He never had a coordinator. Terry will tell you, I called all the plays. Nobody told me what to call. I knew what to call. That goofball you see on Sundays guided the Steelers to 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, calling his own plays. So when you talk about quarterbacks, Hurts could never do what Bradshaw did. Call his own plays, had his own game plan. Terry Bradshaw put his own game plan together for games on Sunday. That's a fact. Then again, I don't know how many Staubach never called his own plays. So that's not a rip, really, on Jalen Hurts. Bradshaw, I mean, Stabler called his own plays. He did. But Bradshaw called his own. Staubach never. Put some respect on Tanner McKee's name. That's a Super Bowl champion, water boy, backup quarterback, y'all. How you doing? Yeah. Says he was the backup at Louisiana Tech for guys that was on the show, Duck Dynasty. Oh, yeah, I heard that. I knew that. He knew the guy from Duck Dynasty. Yeah, I heard that. Hey, by the way, Jimmy Johnson was like an assistant coach. One of his very first jobs was at Louisiana Tech. I think after he left Arkansas, he went to Louisiana Tech as a position coach, and I think Bradshaw was there when Terry was the quarterback, got taken in the first round from the Steelers. Sills, you will pay for your sins on blasphemy on Tanner McKee. Oh, my God, the legendary Tanner McKee. All right, here we go. Where are we now? Oh, here we go. Here we go here. This is where I'm going here. Okay, I got it. Big Sills off-season focuses on the Philadelphia Eagles. If I was Shadur Sanders, I would be hoping I fell to New Orleans. Quarterback, head coach, weak division, an okay team. New York, Tennessee, Cleveland are nightmares. JD3, here is my prediction. I know Xander likes him. My prediction on Shadur Sanders is the next Jamarcus Russell. I mean, we'll see. He's not impressive to me. And everything that Xander says about him is related to his dad. How about him? Does he throw a great deep ball? Okay. Does he read defenses well? Not always. Does he hold the ball too long in the pocket? Absolutely. Does he take too many sacks? Absolutely. If his last name was Shadur Ewers, like Quinn Ewers, he'd be a third-round pick instead of a first-round guy. He'd be a third. If his last name, seriously, was Ewers, like Quinn Ewers, he'd be a third-rounder. Where in the world, and what did you see with him? Sills, what was, here, that's like saying this. Do you think that Deion Sanders would have went to Colorado and they would have won more games in every year that he was there as the head? I do, whether it's Sanders quarterbacking or not. You watch this coming season. You watch Colorado win more games this coming year. I'll bet they win more games. Because you know why? You're not carving out one thing for one kid. You're not going to be sitting there babysitting for Shadur. You're going to be doing what's best for the team, improving your O-line, improving your run game, and getting some more defensive guys in there. Colorado needs more D guys. They got to stop some people. Okay? Steve says, you draft Shadur Sanders, you drafting Deion. Well, how should that be part of the process? I like the kid, but the kid from Miami's going number one. Better runner, Jackson or Vick? Lamar's a better player. Vick's a better runner. Vick had a big arm, though. People don't respect. Vick had a big arm. He just wasn't as accurate, and he didn't really do a good job early in his career in reading defenses. Lamar's getting better coaching. I mean, okay, I must have missed it. I must have missed what Vick did in the NFL. Never won an MVP. I mean, didn't win a ton of games. Lamar Jackson's won a ton of ball games. I must have missed it. I mean, Michael Vick had a big arm, though, dude. He did. It just wasn't very accurate at times. Vick arm is crazy. He could throw the length of the field. That's a fact. I know people told me that too. Michael Vick could throw from goal line to goal line. It's crazy. He was maybe the greatest athlete to ever play the quarterback position. Was Michael Vick. Probably the greatest athlete I've ever seen. You could make the argument that Michael Vick was one of the greatest athletes to ever play in the NFL. Okay? He's just a great football player. I loved him at Virginia Tech, too. I thought he was insane there. Lamar's better than Vick. Vick has a highlight reel, though. I'll say. You put that highlight reel of him at Virginia Tech and in the NFL, shit, man, the only thing that changed were the uniforms because he was so good. I'll tell you this. I could make the argument, guys, that Michael Vick was the most entertaining player to ever watch next to Brett Favre. It was just different. Favre would throw 3 big-time touchdown passes and 3 crazy-ass interceptions. The guy ended up going out of in his career, the all-time touchdown passer and the all-time interception guy. That was symbolic of what Brett Favre's career was. This guy had the most TD passes, and he had the most interceptions. But that's how entertaining he was. I mean, Fran was good, man. Fran was good. John likes that Minnesota Viking organization. Okay? He did. He liked that organization a lot. Okay, yeah. Seals, he has a riverboat. Hey, he was the riverboat. He was very entertaining to watch. Here, well, let me ask you something here. How about this one, Kyle? 5 years from now, who do you think Packers will revere more, Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers? Both won a Super Bowl title, MVPs. Rodgers was better. Who do you think the Packer fans will revere more, Favre or Rodgers? I think they'll do Favre. Even with his BS off the field issues in Mississippi, they'll look at him and I think they'll revere him more. Like 5-6 years from now, they'll look at Favre and go, Favre was next to Starr, the greatest quarterback in Packer history. And yet Aaron Rodgers was better. Okay, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a great football player. All right. My Philadelphia Eagle off-season focuses as we move into, hey, if I'm not mistaken, who started practicing today? Somebody started practicing today. Who started their winter workouts today? Winter workouts started for Chicago, I think. I think the Titans started. There were some teams that started their winter workouts today. And yeah, and it's starting. It's starting now. So, yeah, I can't remember what teams I saw that were starting this week. But all-season training is starting now for the NFL. Vick was transcending like Iverson. Culture thing. Absolutely. Here, Anthony, you and me kind of have a good understanding now. So you know where I'm coming from. Do you know one of the biggest fears that they had after Vick went to Leavenworth? You want to hear something crazy? Michael Vick was so instrumental for the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, the guy who owns Home Depot, Arthur Blank. 67% of the season ticket fan base was black. And they go out and they get Matt Ryan to replace his ass. Even though that guy was good, led him to a Super Bowl. 67% of the season ticket fan base was black because of Vick. You talk about an impact on a football team that never did shit. He's it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the impact he had. They turn around and they go get that kid from New England, Matt Ryan, and draft him. I'm like, that thing plummeted. African-American fans, they went down to 32%. Vick had 67%. Yeah, you know what that is? Anthony, that's young black kids looking at an idol like Michael Vick and going, I want to do that. I want to be like him. By the way, I think Michael Vick is a great role model. He is a wonderful role model right now about going to the heights, lows, back to the heights. Now he's making impacts in people's lives at Norfolk State, being a head coach, impacting young players' lives. I think that's a tremendous success story. I am a 1,000% fan of Michael Vick. You never forget that stuff. I get it. But, dude, I root for second chance guys like him. I love that guy. I thought he was one of the most entertaining people to ever watch. And he is a role model today, in my opinion. That's a role model. Not when everything is running great and everybody's a front runner. I want to know when shit's down and you're pressing license plates, what are you going to do with your life? You're in a prison. You're eating grilled cheese off a radiator. What are you doing then? I love me some Michael Vick. Guy's exactly everything that's right with a story of an athlete who went up, down, back up again. It did things with character. Hey, I made a mistake. Okay, I'll do it again. Isn't it funny? In our society, we have a problem doing this. Hey, don't do it again. You paid your debt. Don't do it again. Okay, we have a problem with that. No. This guy's going to be tarred and feathered forever. And you're like, then you don't really believe in rehabilitation. The same people that want to cancel you are the people that believe in rehabilitation. Either you don't or you do. You can't pick and choose it. Okay? Try to live with something that you believe in. Okay? I mean, if you truly believe that people that are incarcerated, they pay their debt to society, they come out and they can live active lives, that's second chance. But you know what? You got people, the social media warriors and all the rest of these guys, they see somebody do something shit or something whatever, they cancel their ass and say, that's who that guy is. And you're like, wait a minute. So you don't really believe in rehabilitation? Yeah, I do. I think there's more incarcerated blacks in our country today unjustly. Okay. Well, then what do you believe in, guy? Not preaching. Preaching. Hey, Lamar, I don't preach. I live it. I don't preach to people. I live it. Everything I tell you, I live or lived it. How can I preach to you? Me of all people. Preaching. I don't preach to anybody. You know who preaches to people? A jackass on 97.5 who I promised I wouldn't say his name again. That's preaching. I don't preach. Truth, justice, the Big Sills way. How you doing? Yeah, you know what the Big Sills way is? I live it. everything I talk to you guys, my experiences, what's happened to me, it's not preaching. It's telling you where I'm from and what I've been through. How's that preaching? You think I'm holier? You think I'm better than you? Or you think I think I'm better than you or anybody in here? That's not true. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't gauge myself like that. I've never thought that shit because I don't care about that. Just joining the show. Did you see Ovechkin break the record? I actually tuned it on, and my kid and my wife and I watched him do it. Absolutely. No, man. Vic's doing everything right, man. All right, let me get to this. First time I've ever been called a preacher. Yeah. Sills is preaching. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's me. You don't give off that vibe at all, Sills. Thank you, Sue, very much. Oh, Sue, I've never, ever thought I was better than anybody else. But, Sue, I promise you this. I've never wished I was anybody else either. I'm happy with who I am, what I have done, mistakes and successes. I've never wished, hey, man, I think that's stupid. I've just never done that. King Seals called me a peasant. Unlucky to live in his kingdom. You're a douche. Hey, M. Reyes, you're man, I like that. Seals, one of the boys. Thank you, brother. Watching pro ball since the late 60s. Michael Vick and Bo Jackson, most exciting players ever in NFL. Dude, those are really good guys to lay on there, man. Okay, absolutely. Dude, Bo Jackson is the best athlete I've ever seen. I played against him college and in the pros. I've never seen anything like him. Steve, Bo knows, okay? Like, here. Was Bo Jackson better than Emmitt Smith? Yes. Was Bo Jackson better than Adrian Peterson? Yes. Was Bo Jackson better than Eric Dickerson? Yes. Was Bo Jackson better than OJ? Yes. Him and Jim Brown are probably the greatest running backs to ever live. Bo never got a chance to fulfill his destiny, though. How can one of the greatest athletes not be in either Hall of Fame, baseball or football? And crazy. Just crazy. I mean, he was Reggie Bush was better than Bo. I don't remember that guy playing fucking center field for the Royals. How about this? Bo Jackson made the All-Star game in baseball and the Pro Bowl in the same year. Ugh. And he ran a 4.40 40. I think there's a myth he ran a 3.98 40 at 240 pounds at the combines before they had all these records. I think they got him down for a 4.1 or something. Okay. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian. Reggie Bush may have been shifty. Bo ran you over and outran you. Nobody was faster than Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson left people, man. He could have been on the 4x100 men's Olympic relay team. Nobody was faster than Bo Jackson. You had to see it. Many of you have to go to YouTube to watch him play. I was on the field with him, and he was like this gigantic streak, just wham. It was like a thoroughbred. Seriously, when you saw when Bo Jackson was lined up in the backfield, it looked like he had the littlest legs of all time. When he turned to the side, his legs went from like this to like this. They looked like thoroughbred legs. He was and he had a waistline this big, and he was 245. Have you ever seen Bo Jackson break that baseball bat like this? Bam. Think about this, Xander. He broke one over his head. Then he broke one over his thigh. And he got so pissed off after a strikeout, he took a baseball bat like this and broke it. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, hey, YouTube it. He took a baseball bat, a normal baseball bat, and just broke it because he struck out. This guy had strength that was just stupid and it was incredible. There's never been an athlete that ever was Bo Jackson. It's the greatest athlete I mean, that's what Jim Thorpe must have looked like. Sills, good afternoon. I definitely understand what you're saying. Within 2 weeks, I'm paying over $7,500 to get my driver's license back. Trying to straighten out my life. Good for you, Blaine. I'm praying for you, brother. Hey, dude, guess what? It always gets lighter on the other side. Just hang in there. You know what happens? Tell life to go fuck themselves. Just keep hanging in, and it'll get better. You may not have the smarts to another guy. Some guy may be smarter. Some guy may have better opportunity. You hang in there, you'll be better than that guy. You know why? Because you hung in there. That's the story of my life. I just hang in there. Just hang in there, brother. Good for you, dude. I'm pulling for you. That sucks about the DMV, though. Bo is in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame simply because of stats. In football, pretty much same thing. He was a physical freak until that hip gave out. And that was the collateral damage of playing two sports. He was so good, man. He got hurt in that Bengal playoff game. I mean, he was just so great. I remember Bush getting effing destroyed by Sheldon Brown. Dude, Bo Jackson didn't get destroyed by anybody. You feared that guy running at you because he was a tank and he was a sprinter. There's never been a combo of running back with speed, size, height, and strength like that I've ever seen. Eric Dickerson, here's the backs I've played against. I played against Walter, Eric Dickerson. I'm trying to think of another guy that was in the 80s. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to. It was Dickerson. It was Walter. Gerald Riggs was a heck of a player. He was a really great ball player. He used to be a running back for the Atlanta Falcons back in the day. I'm trying to think of some more really great backs. Marcus Allen. Let me tell you something about playing against Marcus Allen. I didn't play against Thurman. Okay? I played against Marcus Allen. There's never been a combination of a guy catching a football and also running the ball like Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen, I played against Earl, but it was Earl beat up Earl, and he wasn't the same. Early Earl, I didn't play against that guy. So when I played against Earl Campbell, he was a shell of himself. Marcus Dupree was a freak show. He was a great player. I didn't play against Reagan's. Herschel was a teammate of mine. Reggie was promising, but got with the Kardashians. Let me tell you something about Reggie. Reggie thought he could do that. He could really do that, that shifting that he did in college, and he could do that fake stuff. He never just understood that when you're in the NFL, those guys are just faster. And if he would have been a little bit more north and south instead of east and west, it would have helped him a lot more. Herschel Walker is probably the second best athlete I've ever seen on a football field. It goes Bo, Deion, and Herschel is in there too. Herschel Walker is another guy who was a teammate of mine, and Herschel ran a 4.2 40. Did you see what Roger Craig was great? I played against Roger Craig. He was a great back. Did you guys ever see that? He was at Georgia. Herschel Walker is 60 years old. This is a true story. Google it. And there's a YouTube. Herschel Walker was at Pro Day. This was about 4 years ago. So he was probably around 58. Herschel Walker ran a 4.61 at 60. I think it was 58. 58 years old. He ran a 4.61. I mean, the guy was another one of them guys. So that's a good question, man. If I had to rank the best backs I've ever played against. Yeah, Reggie was a great. Here, if I had to rank the best backs, Bo's 1, Herschel's 2, Eric Dickerson's 3. I'm going to change that. Dickerson's 2nd. Herschel's 3rd. Peyton was at the back end of his career. Peyton. Roger Craig. The year Roger Craig played against me, he had 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing. He was the first guy to do it. Keith Byers, another great ball player. Craig, yeah, Roger Craig. Those would be the 5 best backs. Bo, Dickerson, Herschel, Peyton, and Roger Craig. Those would be the best ones. You know, and by the way, before we get Frank Reich on here, so you guys asked me the running backs that I played against, and I'll say it one more time before I bring Coach on. Bo Jackson. Oh my God, Frank and I, I think if I'm not mistaken, Frank, myself, Boomer, and our Maryland team, we went to Jordan-Hare Stadium, and I think we were ranked like 6th, and like they had a guy named James. They had another guy named Tommy Agee, and they had Bo Jackson. And they ran this triple option at us. And we were like, okay, this ain't right. They're just running these triple options at us. Then I played against Bo, and he was with the Raiders. So if I had to say the best players I ever played against, they were Bo, Dickerson. Herschel was a teammate of mine. And Peyton, his final year in the NFL, he was still good. He was with the Bears. This was 87. And I'd say Roger Craig. If Roger Craig played in today's NFL, you know who he would be? He'd be Stanford's very own Christian McCaffrey. That's who he would be. All right. I've been looking forward to this. And get this. I got to say this. You know, there's a cool thing about this. So coaches today, I don't know where. I kept texting Frank. I go, where the heck is he? And I realize he's on the beaches of Carolina. He's just hanging out with his family, you know, and probably playing a nice round of golf. People calling him, you know, I got a couple more years of DP and, you know, we're good in here and this and that. He goes, hey, you want to come coach? Hey, you know, I'm hanging out. I'm going to kind of retool myself here a little bit. Then he gets this opportunity. And before I bring Frank on, do you know where I think this came from? Do you think Frank Reich ever bugged Andrew Luck to come back and play in Indianapolis? Remember, when Frank got that job, what happened? Andrew Luck just went, I'm out. I guarantee you that relationship started there to where we are now today, where Andrew Luck looked at Frank Reich and said, you know, that guy never broke my stones about coming back. And I wonder if that's where that relationship came from. Let's bring him on now. My friend of over 40 years. And there he is, the brand new head football coach of the Stanford Cardinal, Frank Reich. How you doing, Coach?
Dan, how you doing, man? It's great to see you again and be here with you on your show again.
Am I right? Is that where you guys first started that relationship, was when you were in Indianapolis? Or was it that you got closer in Indianapolis? Because there was a lot of pressure. And take me back, Frank, to that time, because now congratulations once again on being named the head coach. But is that where that relationship now, where that thing started for you guys to really understand each other, and where you are right now, where Andrew's the GM of the place and he named you the interim head coach? Is that where this all started?
Yeah, I think it was both of those things. I think you're right. I mean, the whole, you know, talking about him, trying to get him to come back, that was all true. And we kind of remained close. And, you know, I would nag, hey, are you ready? Can you come back? Let's go. We need you. But that year in 18 was a really special year for us in Indy. You know, And really the prior to the season is where Andrew and I got close because he was coming off a horrendous shoulder injury, so no one really knows this, but we went into that 18 season. We were talking about this the other day. This blows my mind. We're getting ready to play our first game of the year. And we're probably we've already played our last preseason game. And so we got 2 weeks to the first game. I still have not seen him throw a ball more than 40 yards down the field because of his shoulder. And he was on a pitch count. And so he had so few reps coming into that 2018 season. And we started 1-5, and we were in close games, but we just couldn't quite get it figured out. And then all of a sudden, I think he got fully healthy. We got fully healthy, and we won 9 of 10. And, we won a playoff game. And I can just tell you, I remember no one wanted to play the Colts in 2018 at the end of the year. We were the hottest team in the NFL. And then we went into Kansas City in the playoffs on the road against Mahomes, and we almost beat, we gave them a good run. So, so I think we got, you go through that, you're 1-5, and then you come back and have that season. We got close there, but then that next off season, when he was really struggling, got hurt again and was struggling with the whole injury thing. And, he and I become close, and this isn't like he's keeping me as a friend and as a head coach out of his thought process. The whole time he was processing, can I play anymore? Can I go through this anymore? We're talking about those things. So, I think we went through some pretty dark and deep times together. And I think that's where the foundation was formed.
Boy, the quarterbacks that you've worked with in your life, Wentz, Kelly, working with him, Boomer, Phillip Rivers, working with Andrew Luck. All these guys that you've worked with over the years, it's prepared you for understanding the position. What do you think is the most difficult thing about playing the quarterback position, Frank? Because to me, I can look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers and go, Aaron Rodgers is more talented as an athlete than Tom Brady. But what makes Brady better? Brady, when he came into the draft, he couldn't jump over a stack of pennies. And here he is, the greatest player in the history of the sport at that position. What's the one thing that makes it so difficult to evaluate that position?
You're so dependent on you are the centerpiece of the offense and the centerpiece of the organization as the quarterback. And you're like a multiplier effect. You make everybody better or worse depending on your play. But yet at the same time, and this is a both end, you're dependent on who's the offensive line, who are the receivers around you. What's does the scheme fit you? And so, but I remember working with Peyton when I was first at Indy, and I was his quarterback coach, and really just watching him every day at practice. I just real briefly, I started writing this down. I said, watching Peyton Manning, what are the 5 traits of great? And number 1 was just a mental toughness, like to always get better. And that's when you see the Bradys and the Peyton Mannings of the world, the Andrew Lucks, like what made them great is, they just always were getting better. They just always found ways to get better and make everybody else better. So, and then number 2 was, was accuracy. Like, I don't think you can be a great quarterback without big time accuracy. Elite accuracy. Like if you want to be, I'm talking top 5. I'm not talking top 10 or top 12. That's great. But if you want to be top 5, you have to have elite accuracy, and then I like to talk about like accelerated vision. How fast can you think, and process what you're seeing over there. And then it's talking about, and then number 4 would be like playmaking ability. This is where the one exception now, how the game has changed, Dan, and I'd be curious what your perspective on this is as well. But now with some of these guys that can run, or some of these guys that are just different physically, like a Josh Allen, he has a Superman physical trait. Lamar Jackson has a Superman physical trait. Patrick Mahomes, with his arm talent, has a Superman physical trait that you're already in the best there is. And now when you have that Superman trait, you're better than even the best guys. And if you have that, if you have a Superman trait, you can go a long way with that. So, but anyway, and that's where, so that 4th trait is you got to be a playmaker. Somehow, some way, as a quarterback, you got to find ways to make that offense make plays at key moments.
Frank, I think the game's played so much more in space today than it was during our time. That's why you're seeing smaller linebackers. You don't see the Levon Kirklands like you did back in our time, the big guys, the Pepper Johnsons. You see more guys around 215. and there's more guys who have more latitude to be able to put their hand in the dirt and stand up. And the game is played so much more in space.
Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of defenses too deep, too high safeties deep, and guys playing more zone than they have back in the day when they played man. I mean, you're trying to keep everything underneath because there's so many great gifted athletes today down in the D line, especially at the edge. I mean, you're watching guys run 4-4 edge now. The kid from Tennessee ran a 4-4 from Tennessee, that kid James Pearson. You're like, holy cow, man. I mean, the game is so different. There's so many more athletes today that are all over the field. And like I said, again, you know, when you play like Vic Fangio, and I'll get back to you and I can talk football forever. I mean, he plays that two high safety. He drops those corners back. You don't have to be a lockdown corner. The Eagles don't have lockdown corners, but what they have exceptional guys who know how to run in pursuit. They're great on pursuit angles. They're great tacklers. I think you've got to be today, Frank, a better open field tackler than you've ever been. Back in the day, you could spear guys. If you don't have a good radar on people and you don't understand pursuit angles of pursuit, this game's played in angles. Nothing's ever really played head up. It's played in angles. And if you understand that, you can always outrun somebody. That was one of the things Jimmy Johnson told us. The game is in angles. And
Right.
so it's so much more in space today.
Yeah. And I think, like when you mentioned Vic Fangio and some of the other great coordinators on all sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, I think the other thing that they do is they teach their players how to play the game within the game. So there's the big game, but then, you know, there's always the game within the game. And to
Win
me,
your sandbox.
yeah, that's right. And get it down into that little sandbox and understand how you fit into the bigger scheme. And if you can figure out how to play that game within the game, you just made the whole team better. And that's a big deal. And that's what Vic Fangio does. Like, you can say he plays cover 4. Anybody can, well, why isn't it, just the way he teaches that scheme, Vic was, when I was playing my 1 year at Carolina, when I was the starting quarterback there for the first 3 games, and then backed up Kerry Collins, Vic was the D coordinator. I can remember him back then, just how he taught those guys. Man, it was just at another level.
I'm going to get there, and I want to ask you, how did you get where you are now? I mean, Frank, I know that Maryland and you and them had conversations about potentially being the head football coach there, and then that NFL, you always pursued that. You've gone through, like, I call you one of the great gypsies of all time with all the jobs you've ever had, because you've been everywhere, Frank. There's not really very few teams you haven't been, and you haven't gone up through the ranks of where you are right now. But talk about making that leap. Were you tired of the pro game? Were you tired of answering? Because Bill Belichick I thought of you when he took the Carolina job. I was like, man, Frank's probably just sick and tired of hearing GMs and owners. He goes, let me go run my own boat right now. Is that kind of what pushed you into seeing if this is for you, college football?
No, not really. This is just all about my relationship with Andrew. And,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's why this is a 1 year thing. It's a perfect, we've been straight up with the kids here and everybody, the players here, they're grown men. It's a great group of young men here. And, the way Andrew handled it was like a complete pro. And we just told the kids, we told the players right up front, listen, man, this is a unique situation, to have to make a transition in your head coach at this time of year, right before, I was on the job and the next day we were in spring ball, so it's just highly unusual, but let's embrace it. This is going to work this weekend. This is going to be a blast, and here's how we're going to make it work. So, I was able to kind of come in and say, hey, here's how we're going to operate. We're going to keep the coaching staff. Here's going to be our standards for the program. Let's make this something special and make this a year to remember. And so when Andrew called me and said, hey, Frank, I need your help. And I was like, yeah, man, what do you need? And he's like, I need you to come be the interim head coach. I'm like, are you crazy? I said, you have lost your mind. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually just crazy enough that I might just do it, And no, I was, like you said, Dan, before, like I was focused on other things in life. I was playing some golf. My wife and I were going to do some travel. I mean, the ministry side of my life is important to me. So I had some things there that I was doing and plans on doing that I just put everything on hold, to come here for 9 months and just, pour my heart and soul out into the coaches and the players. That's what Andrew's asked me to do. I don't have to be the head coach of a college program as far as recruiting and NIL. Andrew's handling all that, right? I just have to come in and coach football. So for me, this is almost like an NFL job because of the unique nature of it. And that I can do. That I'm excited about doing. I'm excited about working with these college kids and teaching them football, and then also being able to kind of have some kind of impact personally as we get to know each other.
Don't you think something like this galvanizes the coaching staff and also players too? I don't know about you, Frank, but if I had a coach like you that walked in there and said, listen, guys, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you guys reach what you want. Because as a player, you and I know this, when you're a player, I got dreams, I got expectations. And when certain circumstances out of your control, you can't control, that could derail everything, especially at a prestigious school like that. Do you feel it galvanizing the program?
Yeah, like you said, Dan, can it galvanize? Yeah, if you got the right people, and they do here, right? Starting with Andrew as the GM and as the leader of the program. That's what makes this work. He's the kind of core to the program. He's the ultimate leader of the program. So he's the continuity of the program. That's why I can come in here. It doesn't derail the kids that came here and their dream to come to Stanford, play big time, have obviously a great prestigious academic school and play big time football. Andrew Luck is the continuity. I'll be here for 1 year. That's all I wanted to be here for. But he'll build the continuity with the next coach. And, I'm guessing that you never know, but that because we got a good coaching staff, many or all, or some of these coaches that are here will stay here. And I'm sure many of the principles that we lay down, because they're coming from Andrew and I working together. So when I leave, a lot of it, there's still going to be a lot of carryover in the way the program is run, because Andrew and I are like-minded in those areas.
Who's somebody you reached out to because this is obviously a different role for you, and I would assume maybe the most challenging role in your life, because there's an end. You've got an ending to this thing here. Is there somebody that you've reached out? Is there somebody, or is it a collection of people? Because it's college, and like you said, you're trying to make this as much of a pro situation for you to keep you in a comfort zone on how you delegate responsibility. So I kind of got where you are with that now, but has it been more challenging than being an NFL guy? Or is this because it's a different situation than anything I've ever heard?
Yeah, it is different. The biggest challenging thing to me is the setup. Andrew has kind of put me in a great situation, because I don't have to do all those other things. I can just coach football. The biggest challenging thing is, I want to get to know the players close. You know what I mean? Everywhere where I've ever been, the relationship with the players is central, and there's no shortcut for that. That just takes time. So, so I'm just going to do the best I can do, right, to get to know everybody, and then, and then bring all the football expertise that you bring. We got a good coaching staff here. I'm excited. I learn from these guys. We'll kind of meld something together. I can't do an overhaul on the playbook because it's, it's too late to do that. But we will do some things. There will be a lot that we can do. But we also have to get to know I have to get to know the players to see how do we accentuate what they do. But ultimately, it really comes down to the kids. That's what, when Andrew called me, he said, Frank, I'm trying to do right by these players. We had to do what we had to do to make this transition. And the big thing that Andrew said, the big statement that I made this in the press conference as well, is, hey, we're not hitting the pause button. We're not going backwards. And so in Andrew's mind, how can we do that? He knew what kind of an offense that we would kind of migrate to with me coming in here, working with the other coaches. Let's get this rolling, build into the coaches and players, and let's take a step forward. And we both really believe that we can and will do that.
I have become friends with Marv Levy, and I was friends, and I asked him one of the most important things as a coach that he used to tell his coaching staff. And he said, when you come to work with me, don't guard your desk. Right. If you have a certain amount of time to get your work done, go home. Go get your work done and go home. Have you set those kind of parameters? And then you and me know we could turn around and there's a guy like Coach Ross who believed in hard ass work. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of put it all together, Frank. Is that kind of, have you laid those kind of parameters out for your coaching staff? Because Jimmy Johnson told me a head coach is only as good as the assistant coaches he has, because if he doesn't have great assistants around him, it is not going to work. Is that what you've kind of instilled in these guys?
Well, there's no question that's true, what Coach Johnson said. And secondly, we have laid down. And I would like to think that I'm a blend of those two things that you said. Don't guard your desk, but at the same, and what I've told the guys, in fact, right before we got on, I was in here with the coach and we were talking about the plan for the rest of the week. And in fact, we were talking about that very thing. And I was saying, no, hey, on this night, just get the guys out of here early, go home. Because, everybody has iPads, so they can go home and grade, put their kids to bed, and then stay up and grade the film. Put their kids to bed, have dinner with their wife, whatever the kid, and then stay up and get the film. Just get this work done, get it done with excellence, but we can have some flexibility with the schedule. The difference, as you know, Dan, the big difference here is we just don't have that much meeting time with the players compared to the NFL, where you're meeting with them all day. You can spend as much time as you want with them. At this level, you can't do that. So it gives the coaches a little bit extra time. And so we can still work hard, but have some flexibility and create a culture where, we have a very young coaching staff. We went to a function yesterday. I met most of the families, the wives, the kids, and there were a lot of them, and so, they can get home with their kids, but we still got to work hard.
Well, I have to ask you some Eagle questions now. How proud were you when those seconds were ticking off for your guy, Nick Sirianni, that there it was, their guy you recommended to the Philadelphia Eagles? And when everyone called you when you were at Indianapolis and you said, this is the guy, how proud were you of that moment that you saw him win that Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl runs in 3 years? He wins it. Just give me your takeaway when you first initially saw that they had won the Super Bowl and there your guy was standing there, a champion.
Yeah, so happy for him. So well-deserved. After, the meltdown that team had the year before, for him to come back like that and to galvanize that team and make that run and win the Super Bowl was amazing. But listen, I was happy for him, but I'm not surprised. When I got the head job in Indy, after I was with the Eagles and we won the Super Bowl and I was the coordinator, and then the whole thing with the Colts and how I got that head job and how crazy that was. And I walked in the building there and I said, we need one guy. I need one guy. I need Nick Sirianni. And Nick was the wide receiver coach with the Chargers at the time. And he was under contract and it was going to be hard to get him out. But, thanks to Tom Telesco and Anthony Lynn for letting Nick have a chance. They knew how good of a coach he was. And you're the receiver coach, so you're probably a couple steps. You don't see too many receiver coaches going to coordinator. You usually come from the quarterback room. I knew Nick was the best coach I'd ever been around. I mean, we worked together for 3 years in San Diego when I was the quarterback coach and then the offensive coordinator for a couple of years. Nick made me such a better coach. The way he understands the game, the way he coaches players, I knew he was the best coach I had been around. So his success with the Eagles, not a surprise. He kids with me, because I'm older, I'm like the bigger brother. And he tells me all the time, man, I learned this, that, I said, Nick, let me just tell you, I learned so much more from you. You are the best coach I've ever been around. And so couldn't be happier for him.
When you were in San Diego, I was in San Diego, and I never realized that Nick was the receiver coach and the QB coach, and then you became the OC, and he was working for you there. I mean, that dynamic, you always hear people talking, and I hear even Jalen Hurts talking about how they pull out tape on what Phillip Rivers did. And there was the three of you working with Phillip. One of the best years he ever really had was in Indianapolis. And also when you were the coordinator in San Diego was one of the best years. That seems to be Jalen Hurts' go-to. What does Phillip Rivers do, Frank, that is so special that other quarterbacks want to become and want to do in this league?
Well, he has that elite accuracy that we talked about, earlier. And he has that the mental and physical toughness, second to none. Phillip Rivers, second to none, second to none. His accuracy, second to none. And then he's a playmaker, man, the guy, and then a great leader. I mean, he just guys look up to him. He knows how to lead a football team. And but it's funny, you're talking about, when I was at San Diego as the offensive coordinator, I had Nick. You know who else was in that trio?
There's somebody else on the staff too that I can't remember.
Shane Steichen.
Yeah, Shane Steichen was on that.
It was Nick and Shane and myself. Mike McCoy was the head coach.
Yep.
The first year when I was the quarterback coach, Ken Wisenhunt was the offensive coordinator, and then Wiz went on to be the head coach with Tennessee for his second stint at a head coach. Wiz, a great coach. And then, Coach McCoy moved me to OC, and I had Nick and Shane. And so it was Nick and Shane and I, putting the whole offense together. And that offense in 14 and 15 for the Chargers was pretty. That pass offense was pretty potent. We had Gates at the end of his career, Keenan Allen, and then Phillip had 2 monster years.
I have to ask you this. Obviously, after Kellen Moore got the job in New Orleans, and I had heard Nick say that he was doing some courtesy calls. Was there a courtesy call to you? And again, I know that you were probably still involved with a contract still with Carolina. But was there ever any thought of you being a consultant or potentially becoming the offensive coordinator with the Eagles? Did you ever have that call? Did he give you a courtesy call for you to deny it, for you not to accept it, or what have you? Because there was a lot of talk of you being in Philadelphia, and a lot of people were saying that you would have been the right guy, but maybe it wasn't just the time. Did that happen?
Yeah, no, we had, before that all happened, we had already had a conversation in previous times like that. I was not going back to that role at that time. So with any team, because I did have, I had talked to other teams about different roles. We have had conversations about kind of, like you said, a consultant role. And I knew if Kellen, obviously the thought went through my mind. Come on, I love the Eagles.
No, and they love
Howie Roseman.
The owner loves you. The owner loves you too, and that's why because there was a lot of conversation that you would take a consulting role, and they had offered you a consulting role.
Well, and like you said, I loved Howie Roseman. I love Mr. Lurie. He is an amazing, amazing owner. My 2 years there, I can't even tell you how impressive he was. And then, of course, Nick is my brother. that's my brother. And so, there was the competitor side of me, but I also know the staff that Nick has. And I'm really happy for Kevin Petula. That's the right move. I've kind of I had my chance. I had my run, won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator with the Eagles. It's time for someone else to take that reins. And so, and Nick and I had a previous conversation before that even came, hey, here's where I'm at, So have we talked about, had we talked about possible consultant thing? Yeah, we had talked about that kind of stuff. And I was just still, and it was very gracious of Nick saying, hey, man, let's talk about this. Would love to kind of reconnect. And we just agreed, let's wait, let's let all the dust settle. And so we were just going to let the dust settle. And then they won the Super Bowl, and we had just kind of agreed that, in the next month or two, we'd kind of revisit it and see if it felt right. And then this came up. So,
Frank,
yeah.
would you have taken that consulting role if this hadn't come up?
I possibly would have. Yeah. Just because of Nick and because of Howie and Mr. Lurie and because of the Eagles. And the way that Nick was describing, kind of how it would look and work. It would have been something that I think could have worked. There were a lot of details to work out. So maybe it wouldn't have, but I think there was a chance it could have.
Phenomenal. What's your takeaway on the growth? And you know what? I get Bruce Arians on now, and he believes that maybe this is where the quarterback in college football, maybe you guys have a guy like this, like Jalen Hurts. He thinks there's going to be more dual threat type guys with the athleticism to be able to get out in space, make plays with their legs and their arms. When you see the development of Jalen Hurts, I think he's helping this kid, Jalen Milroe, fly up the draft board right now because of what you see with dual threat now winning a Super Bowl. When you see his growth, Jalen Hurts' growth, what's your takeaway on him?
Well, first of all, the guy is a winner. Everybody's known that from day one about the guy. He's a winner. Number two, his work ethic is second to none. I just know that from talking to Nick and the other guys. And how highly Nick speaks about him as a leader, as a person, as a quarterback, and his work ethic. And, and number three, like, he is a dual threat, but like at the end of the day, and this is still my personal belief, like, yes, you want a dual threat guy, but at the end of the day, you still need to be able to win games from the pocket. And
right.
Jalen did that in big games. And so he did, and he threw for a ton of yards down, in that Super Bowl. So, there's no question that the dual threat quarterback in the run game, it is such an advantage. It is such an advantage because it holds the backside. It keeps the backside honest. And that's a big deal.
Couple last ones here for you, Frank. Is it true, Frank?
You're working me hard today.
Hey, no, man. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. I know you're so busy, man.
I mean, you're killing me.
I know. Well, hey, let me ask you. I'm gonna ask
for you, the world, Dan. For you, the world.
I know you're so good to me, man. You always are.
No,
Can I ask you one last? Can I ask you one last hard one?
Sure.
All right. Did you have say in who was going to be selected? The quarterback in Carolina I'm going to put it so that I don't put you in a box here. I'm going to ask you a question out. Was that decision mostly yours, or was that taken out of your hands on what that position? Because, by the way, I think Bryce, he's one of my guys I think is going to have a bounce back year. I like that kid. I loved what I saw against him against the Eagles this last year. I think there's some intangibles. If you put a better team around him, there could be something there. But was that decision taken out of your hands on what quarterback was to be selected between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young?
No, it was a good process, and it was, organizations are set up, most NFL organizations are set up one of two ways. Either the GM has ultimate control over everything, ultimate control of the roster, or the head coach does. Most teams, it's the GM and then the head coach. And the GM has control of the roster, and the head coach has control of who suits up and who plays. So, ultimately the GM's responsible, and the whole scouting staff, and they had done the work. But listen, and so when I got there is no question there was a strong leaning towards Bryce when I walked in the door. But when you watch the tape, when I watched the tape, when I met the player, when I talked to him and we wore out the process, I said, this guy is a winner, extraordinarily talented winner. He's highly accurate, all those things we talked about. Yep. He's tough. He's mentally and physically tough. He has all the he's just not a big, he's just not a big guy, And so, but that didn't, as I got to know him and watch him play, that ended up not being a major concern. That ended up not being a major concern. And I think he showed that this year. I mean, I was so happy to see the way he played this year and how it came about.
Yeah.
The start of the season for the team was so bad. And then Andy Dalton comes in, and Andy's a true pro, and man, all of a sudden it looks like there's a little life to the organization. That thing could have went the other way and never bounced back. So what he did,
I know,
that is so much credit to him, and really to Andy, and and to Coach Canales, and the way that was all handled, to the whole organization, the way they did that. And this guy, right? I mean, it didn't work out for me there. Whatever. I mean, it's the NFL. Sometimes it doesn't. You don't always get the break that you need. But I've had so many good breaks in my career the other way. You get one bad break, you're like, okay, whatever. But I'm still happy for Bryce, and still happy for that team, that it seems like the team's on the right trajectory.
Final question for you. What are your expectations this year? Nick Saban talks about process more than he talks about wins. He says his entire coaching career changed when he went from going, we have to win this amount of games, we have to win here. It was more, he said, when I decided to go into coaching and talk to kids about our process, we won more games because of the process and what our standards were set for. It's kind of a loaded question here for you a little bit here, Coach. But, I mean, do you have expectations? Is there anything you're looking at? What's the one thing at the end of the year of a Frank Reich Stanford Cardinal football team that you want people to know at the end of this? They go, he coached this team and you put your stamp on it. What is that one thing?
I mean, we're going to have high standards, and we're going to live up to those standards. And as you just said, Dan, I mean, the whole thing. And you ask any player that has ever played for me, and said, what's Frank going to talk about? We're going to talk about, it's about the process, and it's about people. You get the process right, you get the people right, and the results follow. I got that from Marv Levy. Marv used to say, winning's not our goal. Excellence in preparation is our goal. Winning results.
That's right.
Who talks like that? All the great coaches.
Yep.
That's who talks like that. All the great coaches.
Yep.
Oh, we got to win. We got to win. We got to, of course we got to win. Of course we're trying to win. But we also know, and this is the frustrating part as a coach, and this is the challenging part for me in 1 year here. Like, sometimes you get the people right and the process right, and the results are going to follow, but sometimes they lag.
Yep.
Sometimes the results lag in business, in life, in football. Sometimes you hit it right, man, and you see the immediate results. And that's what obviously I'm hoping for here, that we're going to come in, we're going to make an impact, we're going to get the process right. Man, we set these standards. We're going to live up to these standards. And man, the Stanford, community is going to be proud of this football team, not only about how we play, but the results that we get. That's the ultimate goal. But in life, sometimes the results do lag. But I'll double down on the process anytime, anywhere.
Coach, my wife's a rugby coach, and she was talking this year about, she's like, the kids just aren't getting it. The year before, they got it right away. And I go, hey, sometimes you get the eggs and sometimes you get the shells. When it comes to the team, I go, and sometimes the kid catches it late. They catch it early. They find their identity early. I go, it's up to you to keep your patience, because coaches get frustrated just like players too. I mean, you got to keep that even keel. And that's why, Frank, I've always thought you had the great temperament to be a coach, because you had that Tony Dungy and Marv Levy attitude where you never got too high, you never get too low. And that's why I think you're going to have great success. I've known you for over 40 years. Our car rides with Vic Kronberg all the way up to New York and back with Boomer in the car and Pete Koch. You guys should have seen this car. We're up going back and forth.
Crazy.
Who would have thought those kids right now where we are? I mean, Pete's doing really well. Boomer's a star in New York, and here you are now, the head football coach of the Stanford Cardinal football. Congratulations to you. I love you to death. You're one of my dear friends for my whole life, and I thank you so much for doing this, and God bless. We'll catch up again during the season. I can't wait to see the Cardinal football.
I appreciate it, Dan. Love you, brother, and all the best to you.
You bet. Thank you, Coach. That is Frank Reich. Man, I really love that guy. What a really great coach. What a great journey. And by the way, did you hear what he said? The Eagles had offered him the coordinate or the consulting job. He was going to take the consulting job. I asked him, would you have taken that job? He said yes. Then this parachuted in. Frank was coming back as a consultant for the Eagles. He didn't want to be the coordinator role. Nick was carving out a role for him. Did you hear what he said? Nick was carving out a role for Frank Reich as a consultant on the coaching staff. I mean, that's the first time any of us have ever heard that, isn't it? Nick Sirianni, elite. How you doing? Hey, Xander, I don't know about you, but that's a soundbite. That he said that Nick was a great coach. There's one. Okay, I heard him. And second, they offered him the consulting job. You notice I wasn't going to let that go. And they were going to carve a role out for him with the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Stanford job came in. I guarantee you next year, how many people after what you just heard believe that Frank Reich will be a consultant and on that coaching staff next year in Philadelphia? I do. I do. How you doing? Yeah. How you doing? That's how he gets. Now look, he knew I was being a little. Let's see. I guarantee he goes, "Hey man, yeah. Hey, I guarantee you he just texted me. I know he did." Okay. Okay, yeah. He just said, "Only you can ask me questions like that." I never would have answered that. He loves the Eagle organization. He does. Okay. Elizabeth, I asked him if he was going to take the consulting job, and he said yes. Then this came in. He didn't want the offensive coordinator's job. Hit the like button, guys. Right, Sue? They had Nick was carving a rollout, and coach's exact words were how it was going to look. We got Gary Cobb at the bottom of the hour, and we will ask him then what he thought about that. That they had asked him to be a consultant, even with Kevin Patullo in the building. The owner had to be okay with this, and so did Howie Roseman. By the way, this will make a great tweet. Holy cow. The Eagles were carving out a role for Frank Reich. Frank said it. Go back and watch it. Hit that like button. Gary Cobb will join us at the bottom of the hour. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Big sales here for our friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in America, with over $25 billion recovered for clients across the country. Absolutely insane on what they've done for families across America with their thousands of attorneys. Right here in Pennsylvania, a family was offered $650K. They ended up getting $26 million. In Florida, a family was offered $350,000. No way. They ended up getting nearly $12.5 million in recovery. This is the track record for Morgan & Morgan. If you're ever injured, please do me a favor and go and check out our friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Let me see how I'm doing this here. So let me see. How does this sound here? New Stanford football head coach Frank Reich was having a role carved out for him on the Eagles coaching. Oh, let me put coaching staff. Prior to him taking the Cardinal job, JAKIB Sports. How you doing? Hold on here. Let's put that here. Fly, Eagle, fly. Okay. He would be working with Kevin Patullo. Just said it on the show. Just said it on the show. How you doing? Bada boom. Damn. You see, that's what we do here. We break stories. That's what we do here. Yeah, I don't know about you, Mr. International. Don't ever tell me then that Big Sills don't have ends with your organization. All I got to do is ask Frank to ask Nick. Because if that one guy's going to be a, you know what was the name of that? Hey, Sue, what's the name of a dude who wants to date somebody and that guy ends up always getting in the way? I'm not going to say because it's the holy time of the year. But, if that guy, Bob Lang, wants to be, that, I'm just going to go to Nick. Or, excuse me, I'm going to go to Frank through and get to Nick. What's that guy's name? The guy that always gets in the way of you wanting to date somebody. Damn, I can't think of that name. Not going to say it out loud or anything here. Yeah. Because it's the holy time. I'm just going to be, a little better, Hey, our good friend, bottom of the hour, Gary Cobb will join us from Fox 29. I don't know what anybody's talking. I don't know. I'm just, from now on, he texts me. He goes, man, you make me say some of the craziest shit. I'm like, I don't make you do anything. Okay? I don't make you do anything. I said, you do it. He goes, anything. It's all right. I'll answer. He goes, holy cow, I'm probably going to, you know what he texts me? He goes, I'm probably going to get 1,000 calls now from the Eagles because I said that I was going to take that role. And remember he said he wanted the dust to settle. After Kellen left, Kevin got the job. They were carving the role out. Nick was in constant conversation with him on carving that role out. And then this came up. How you doing? Time to move on. Yeah. I should have asked him more about Kevin Patullo, though. Okay? I should have asked him about Kevin Patullo. Holy cow. Let's see how that bad puppy runs. They were carving a rollout for him. Man, I love that. Okay? Yeah. Jerry Jones Sills? No, not me. I don't stir anything. All right. Big Sills Eagles off-season focus. This is one of my – we were going to get to this topic prior to Frank coming on. And I want to go through some of these here with you. Before we get Gary Cobb on, that'll be at the bottom of the hour. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Really great stuff from Coach Reich. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with that team this year. It's too late in the process. But I doubt he stays at the college level. I guarantee you he's in Philly next year. All right. These are some of my focuses as we're 17 days out from the NFL draft. Okay? Hit the like. Guys, do me a favor. Give me a total on the likes now. Yeah, and by the way, that story, nobody had any insight if Reich was offered a job. He told you here he was, the consultant job. So he was offered a role on the staff, not the OC, but he was offered a role. Hit that like button. 151, not bad. Let's get to 250 today. See if we can do that. Who's the best safety in the draft? I think it's the kid Starks from Georgia. I think it's him and then it falls off the planet. All right. Here's some of the focuses that I have. Edge. You need to replace talented production with Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. How are you going to do that? In theory, you think you have the guys. We'll see in production if you have the guys. OG, the loss of Becton. What will it be? You know, a lot of you guys keep doing this. And Jeff Stoutland, I trust. Well, what's he done so far with Tyler Steen? How many people think that Jeff Stoutland has succeeded with Tyler Steen? Yes or no? How many people think he succeeded with him? I don't think he has. Charlie says the jury's still out. I mean, he couldn't beat a guy who was a bust in New York out. As a swing guard? So you drafted a guy in the third round to be your swing guard. Okay? Tyler Steen has not panned out. You know who said that? I'm going to go back and give him some love. Even though he's been told not to come on my show from NBC Philly. Barrett Brooks said that guy is not a player who you think is going to come in here and be a physical football player. He was right. Tyler Steen is exactly what Barrett Brooks said he was. Okay? He did. Safety. Why? Get this. Got to give it time. Jeff Stoutland needed only a summer with Mekhi Becton. You need 3 years with Tyler Steen? And Mekhi Becton was a bust in New York with the Jets. Took him 6 weeks to make him a starting guard. Tyler Steen, we're working on what now? Year 3? Come on now, dog. Safety. You have to replace CJ and depth. Okay? Sirianni called it. Stoutland coached it. Okay? We'll get back to these. I can't wait to tell Gary Cobb what Frank Reich just said. I want to hear what he has to say. And I'm going to set it up this way here first before I can bring Gary on. So we asked the question of Frank Reich prior to Kevin Patullo getting the job, if he was offered the offensive coordinating job. And he goes, we had conversations prior to that, and I told Nick I did not want to go back in that role. Then he was offered the consultant role. And prior to him taking the Stanford Cardinal job, Frank Reich just said on the program that, yes, Nick was carving a role out for him as a consultant. And then I asked, were you going to take that job? And he said yes. So he would have been in the building coaching with Kevin Patullo. Instead, he's now the head coach, interim, of the Stanford Cardinals. Interesting. Let's get our friend Gary Cobb in here. Get his takeaway with that. So, Gary, I just had on Frank, and we had about a 35-minute conversation. By the way, he loves Nick Sirianni. Those guys are just thick as thieves. Those two guys are dear friends. He's so happy that he won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But he also said that he did not want to come back to the Eagles in the offensive coordinating role. They had been talking prior to Kevin getting the job. So my understanding is that prior to Kevin getting the job, there was major conversations of him, and he had said, no, I don't want to be in that role again as an OC. Then I asked him, was there a consulting role? And he said, yes. They were trying to carve out a role for him. And then I asked him, would you have taken that job? He says, yes. Then the Stanford job popped in. What do you think of that he was going to bring Frank Reich back to the coaching staff, and he was going to have Frank on the coaching staff with Kevin Patullo and with him for this 2025 season?
Well, he brings experience, and that's the thing Patullo does not bring. He has he's of course seen a lot of big time football and been a part of it and everything, but he hasn't been running the show. He hasn't been the guy that has a final say, let's say, on a play or a final say on who's going to be starting at a certain position. He's there, basically giving his input and everything. But, it's something when you got to go lay in the bed and you made the call. So you're the one, they're going to fry if it goes south. See, you're the one you're the first neck that they're going to crack. They're going to be ready to put you, you're the one they're going to go after. And you got coaches that say they don't hear anything. Come on. They hear, they find out what's going on. In fact, I know the Eagles, they have their PR guys. That's part of their job to say, hey, look, hey, they're going after you, man. Hey, such and such, and even let you know who the media guys are. Okay, this guy here this guy's been killing you, this other guy here kind of likes you, So they know, what's really going on. And so he the fact that he hasn't really had to do that, especially in Philadelphia, it could get hot. It gets hot.
Let me ask you this, though. And no way am I saying that Frank said this, or am I thinking that Frank even suggested this?
Yeah.
But do you think that they were bringing that role in just as hedging their bets if Patullo wasn't working out, that they were bringing him in, kind of sitting there on the side?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, and I don't know to just take over the spot, but to be giving that experience, that he got his, he's there kind of, looking over his shoulder and being a help there, not to be a backstabber, but a guy to be in there and who's been through this, because, it gets hot in the NFL. Come on, man. Especially like this team right now. Come on. If he's thinking up the joint, who you think everybody's pointing the finger at? Offense ain't moving. We got all this talent. The offense, everybody's shutting us down. The problem is this Patullo guy. Come on, that's the way it is. And I'm sure he knows that. He's been around here in Philly, and you got a team that won the Super Bowl last year. So he's got to come in here. And you know what? This is part of the fun.
Yeah. I didn't realize, though, that they were trying to get Frank in the building, though. I mean, we kind of guessed it, but for Frank to say it, I was kind of shocked. He was like, no, I wasn't going to be the OC, but they did offer me to roll, and I was going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense that you have somebody with that experience, because he's kind of the old head, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, they had him here a while. He wasn't even the coordinator, but he was there in the background as a guy that they could go to. And it's not where you're trying to stab the guy in the back, but they got a guy there with experience who's going to be somebody you can bounce things off of, and can give you some encouragement when them dogs start coming out. Because
I hear you, man. I was kind of shocked when he said that, but
I tell you, he is on the hot, without even saying he's on the hot seat, he is on the hot seat.
yes,
Come on. He got to know. I know he's going home, talking to the missus, she's going, baby, how's everything going? You know about this job. Hey, come on, you've been up there in the stands. You know the way it gets here. So we got to start off fast, We got to start off fast. And, I call Jalen every night, see how he's doing, and we got the Saquon. He's, we want to get him fresh, want to make sure he's fresh and everything. And I'm thinking about doing this, doing that. He's going to make little tweaks to the things, but, he doesn't want to get away from the things that worked. But he's got to know that they got no place for him starting slow. They got no place for that, man.
Hey,
I saw people talking about the HBO stuff, with the and you can see.
Do you want them on Hard Knocks?
You know what? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. Now you see, I don't have a problem, but it could be more. But you know what? They might as well go on it. You know what?
Wait a minute. Howie, could you see Howie there going, he'd have 88 phones.
Hey.
He'd be looking like he was Gordon Gekko.
Hey.
Like, he'd be like going like he's in Wall Street, going like all dressed up to the nines, talking to people.
But you know what? They might as well go because they won the Super Bowl. Everybody's going, how is it going to increase? They're here in Philly. They are the ones that everybody's watching, everything they're doing. So they're going to be on the hot seat anyway. Like I said, all of those guys, just like, the assistant coach, he's going to be on the hot seat. Nick is going to be on the hot seat. Jalen, the head coach, the quarterback, offensive coordinator, those guys, come on. They're going to be, everybody's going to be watching them. And then really the work is going to have to be done by the defensive coaches because they got to replace so many guys. And they're going to expect the offense to carry them for a while, see?
And especially the passing game. I'm going to ask you about that.
Especially the passing game. You're right.
Hey, I could just see Howie Roseman likes Blue Horseshoe, the edge rusher from BC. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I got to throw this out. I want to throw this at you about Barkley, and you tell me where you think he lands.
Okay.
Here are the guys that gained $2,000 and what they did the following year. OJ, 2003. He had 1973, came back, he had 1,025 yards rushing. 1984, Eric Dickerson, 2105, came back with 1,034. In 1987, Barry Sanders had the best one, 2,053. He ended up with 1,491. Terrell Davis, 2008-98, had 211 yards. 2003, Jamal Lewis, 2,066, had 966 yards. 2009, Chris Jones had 2,006, had 1,364, pretty damn good. Adrian Peterson, 2009 or 12, had 2,097, came back with 1,100 yards. In 2020, Derrick Henry, 2,027, came back with 967 yards. And here's Barkley, had 672 carries at Penn State. And then, counting the postseason, he's had over 1,700 yards rushing in his 7 years, which comes out to 2,500 rushing attempts. Where do you think this guy lands this year after having and led the league in carries with over 400 touches this year? Where do you think he lands? You don't think he puts another $2,000?
No, he's not. He's not even going to get the ball enough to do that. I think they're gonna slow walk him a little bit. They're not going to give him as much of the weight to carry that because they want to keep him healthy and they would like to keep him fresh and they would like to keep him where he is a big factor as the season goes along, especially at the end of the season. They want him healthy and fresh. So I don't think they're going to give the ball to him as much. So I would say, 12 to 1,400, that's what I'm kind of be thinking. And, they got the kid from, where is it? New Orleans?
Green
Well,
Bay,
Green Bay.
A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon, they brought him in because they're going to feed him some. He's a big back who can take some of the load, and that way they can keep Saquon healthy and keep him fresh. And so that's why I don't think that they're going to give him the ball. Like he'll get on a roll. He's going to get on a roll in some of the games. But they're not going to feed him like they did last year. No, I don't think they're going to do that. No.
Gary, what you're more concerned with on what Vick's job is ahead of him? Replacing half of the secondary or replacing the front four? You're missing two guys in your front four, and you're missing two guys in your secondary.
Yeah.
What do you think is a bigger job for them and for Vick this coming offseason here? Because, I don't care what people say. Half your secondary's gone.
That's right.
And, half your defensive line is gone, who were very productive in the number one ranked defense.
Mm-hmm.
What's more concerning to you?
Well, that's a good one because I do like some of the kids that they have really in both places, in the secondary and up front. But I think it's harder to replace the people up front, because I think the people in the league, they value somebody can get to the quarterback. Come on, that guy is more value than somebody's a good cover guy, because you get to the quarterback, you affect the whole game. So I think that replacing those guys up front, because if they do get pressure from those guys up front where they can get a pass rush, these guys can do a good job against the run, then you might as well know they're going to be in the hunt to try to win that thing again. If they can get those guys up front, because it's hard to replace those guys, man. There's somebody that can give it to you consistently, too, who's good against the pass and the run, who can get pressure on the quarterback if they're being blocked one-on-one. And so that's really where the challenge is. And they got some promising youngsters that showed some things last year, but coming in and doing a little spot duty is much different than being a starter who is counted on to be a dominating player. That's a lot more is asked of you, and it's a lot harder job every game to be getting pressure on the quarterback consistently.
Gary, everyone liked what Nolan Smith did in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And everyone keeps circling, they should write some of the checks that they just signed, some of these contracts, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. Okay, well, when you don't have Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, albeit I give it to you that Jalen Carter probably benefited because he takes on the majority of the double teams there. I get that. But at the end of the day, doesn't Nolan Smith playing behind those guys, doesn't he benefit from playing behind a guy like Milton Williams and a guy like Josh Sweat, who has been a productive guy? As you know, like you just laid it out for us, people don't realize if you up the volume of plays, people are assuming just because you get more opportunities, your volume of activity is going to increase. That's not the case. Sometimes when you up the activity, your production lowers.
Yeah.
Where are you with Nolan Smith? He's an undersized guy. Do you think he can play 800 snaps, 700 snaps, first and second down, as small as he is? Do you think that guy can hold up?
Well, he's got his work cut out for him. He did a tremendous job last year. And I like the fact that, he does know about leverage, meaning that he when he comes around that corner, he's about as low as anybody in the league. So he does a great job there. And he does it all against the run, too, where he stays down. He knows that if he stands up, he has no chance. Because, these guys he's going against 335, 350, 360, nearly 400 pounds, some of the offensive tackles. So he knows he has no chance against them if he doesn't stay underneath them. But he's really gotten better at that. I think that he's probably going to try to put on a little weight, to get heavier. But of course, he still doesn't want to do anything having that speed around that corner. But I think he's going to be okay. See, he's already tasted a lot of it. The whole thing is going to be, who else can they get some help
Did
with?
he turn your belief on him around with the way he played?
Yes, he did. Because he showed that he played even when he was banged up. He was productive at times when he was banged up. And that's what you find out about an NFL player. Look, if everything's got to be perfect and you don't have any bumps and bruises, you don't know what it is to play in the NFL, to play football. Come on. You got to be able to play when you banged up. So what? We don't even want to hear about all the little nicks and stuff. You just got to show up and play, and you got to be productive. And he did show he can play through those things because that is part of the game. You are not going to be 100% healthy if that's the only time you're going to play and be productive. And he showed he can play through that. That's part of playing in the NFL. Sometimes if a guy's always hurt, sometimes it shows you he doesn't have the mental toughness to play all the time. And so, therefore, you can't depend on a guy like that. But I think you can depend on him, even at his size, is that he's got the toughness to line up and play week in and week out.
Nick wants to keep DeJean in the slot. Do you think that that's his role moving forward? I know that they had debated. There was talk about putting him out there on the numbers. But do you think that that is his role, that's where you want to see him play because of productive as he was a year ago?
Well, it's, it's hard to say something is more important than playing out on the corner. But I think that him playing in that nickel position is probably even more important because, see, and we talked about this a little bit before, most of the guys that can cover in the league, they don't want to tackle anybody. No. It's getting worse, a disease in the league now where all of the cornerbacks, they don't want to tackle anybody. They want I'm sorry, kid, this is tackle football. I know you can cover and you just want to run and get interceptions and everything, but you're going to have to tackle somebody. That's part of your job. That's part of the rules. So he's a guy that likes to tackle. You got to be willing to tackle at that nickel spot. And you're going to have to deal with, have to go in there and stick your nose in there against the run. You're going to have to tackle some big people with the tight ends, big wide receivers, running backs, all that kind of thing. He's shown he can do that. So he's valuable in that position. That really makes them it makes them better than a lot of defenses in the league because they got him there. Because a lot of teams in the league, they got corners and they try to move a corner in there. That corner can cover the people in there, but he doesn't want to tackle anybody. So, so a lot of times you can run against that defense. They throw little screens and things. The guy doesn't want to make any tackles. And so they got to keep him at the nickel spot because he's just so valuable there because of his size, his ability to get off blocks, and his willingness to tackle.
Couple last ones here for you, Gary. Do you believe that Jeremiah Trotter is good enough to fill the Oren Burks role?
I think so, but he's got to prove it. He's going to have to, that's not a sure thing because, speed wise, he's got a challenge there, because and a lot of the linebackers do, because you look in there and you're covering a wide receiver in that, in that zone. He's in your area. And a guy, especially a lot of those guys that are in the slot, they're just there because they're quick, And so he's going to have to deal with guys like that. He's going to have to cover tight ends, running backs and everything. So he's a smart kid. So I think he's going to be able to handle that. But we'll have to wait and see. He's got his work cut out for him. But I do think he can do the job, So it's good. I know he's looking forward to it. And from what I saw, the kid is going to be able to do the thing because a lot of it's mental. And with the other guys that have played in that position, that's the big thing to do is they got to be like a DB. They got to understand pass coverages. They got to understand the different routes and things, the route trees, and all the different things that quarterbacks are trying to do to them in that situation where they're in there in that curl position and everything. So he's got the mentality to do it. So that's why I think he can handle it.
What do you think is a tougher replace for Vic? Replacing Josh Sweat or Milton Williams?
Probably Milton Williams, because
of the versatility he can play up and down the line.
And that guy is such a key because they're going to double Jalen Carter, so they're doubling him. That other guy that's one-on-one, he's got to make some noise. And if you can get some pressure from that inside like that, right away, it disturbs the offense because of the way the quarterback's got to take his head off of the the guys downfield, if you got any kind of pressure inside, and that's why that's so important. So if they could get a guy that could do that, man, that's going to mean it's going to mean probably that, they got a shot to go back. If they could get a guy that could do that, because right away the quarterback's got to pull his eyes off of downfield. He's got to move and everything. And then, Carter's going to still be making noise even with the double team. You got that pressure inside, man. It helps it helps all of the coverages, because the quarterback's he's got to take his head off downfield. He can't be looking downfield if he got pressure in his face. And then he might not see it. And then they're knocking balls down and things. So that pressure inside, boy, it makes the other guys outside better when you got pressure inside. So that's so important.
Last one here.
Yeah.
We are right now, we're probably around 21 days out from the Eagles having to make a decision on the fifth-year option on Jordan Davis. Are you giving him that fifth-year option? It would pay him roughly around $13 million. And I'll lay it out also. Plays about 24 snaps a game. Do they pick that option up? Or what, in your opinion, do you think they do? Or will the draft determine that on who's there at that pick? Because, Gary, I kind of laid this out last time for you, and I'll do it again. If they pick his fifth year up, it's 13 instead of having to pay him. If you give him a 3-year option or a 3-year extension of $18 million, you get him on an extra year. You get him at 13. You draft Walter Nolan, say, and you have 3 rookies this year going into this year on rookie contracts where you're not paying enormous money. You're paying rookie contracts. Obviously, in the offseason, Jalen Carter is going to be addressed, and he's going to be a hefty salary, but you still got some young guys, and it gives you a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. Where are you right now on the fifth-year option for Jordan Davis?
I just can't see 13. 13, I mean, I can't do 13.
Yeah, no,
I might be able to do 10. I might be able to do 10 or 9, maybe 13. No, I can't do 13. You got to give me more than what I've seen for 13. I'm sorry, but not 13. Because
not knowing that in the offseason I got to pay nearly 40 for the other guy.
That's right. So I can't do that. I mean, he's got to take less.
If he wants to stay.
If he wants to stay. And maybe 10, maybe 10, something like that. But he's got to know that, look, the passing game is the game. You got to get pressure on the quarterback. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, I'm sorry, we can't pay you. You got to be able to get to the quarterback. You just play against the run. I mean, we could get kids coming out of college that could play run, meaning like they can't rush the pass. What's that?
In the third round.
That's right. That's not number one first round pick if you can't get to the quarterback. And who knows, maybe he develops pass rush, but he got to develop in that area.
4 years now. It's 4 years though, man. I mean,
I don't see, come on. The guy is so powerful that he should be able to develop that. I mean,
and he runs a 4.78 at 340 pounds. I don't get it.
He's good enough athlete. He's got long arms. He's got the power and everything, but he's got to be thinking, look, son, as his agent talked to him, look, son, if you want to get paid, you got to get to the quarterback, man. So you got, that should be the thing he works on above everything else. He should be working how to attack. He doesn't attack one of the shoulders. He runs straight into the guy. He doesn't attack the shoulder.
Do you think he's over or underachieved his time in Philly here?
He's underachieved. I mean, because they think he's underachieved because they thought he was. I mean, they drafted him in that number one pick that they expect to come in, that he's going to be able to develop a pass rush and everything. And I still think he can, but he's got to realize how important it is that he learns. You cannot attack a guy, just running into him, pushing back. You got to develop more than that, and he hasn't done that so far. So hopefully he will. But I could not get. They could no 13. No, just for, just playing against the run. No, you can't do that. This is the NFL, man. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to get to the quarterback. Come on.
And again, like you said, I mean, it's a fact that he was drafted 13th. They thought he was going to be the next Fletcher Cox.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
right.
not. He's not. He's been, and no disrespect to anybody, but I'm not even sure he's been Corey Simon. I don't even think he's been Corey Simon.
That's right. You're right. He hasn't been Corey Simon, because Corey Simon was a better pass rusher than that.
Yep.
I mean, when you are single blocked, man, you got to show something. And here you single blocked all the time, because they're always want to try to double team Jalen Carter. And here you got a shot, man. But somebody would need to tell him, his agent or somebody to tell him, look, man, that's what this is about. And I don't see anybody else going to be jumping up and down to get him if he can't rush the passer. But I see a guy who's good enough athlete to be able to do it. Like, you got to mentally be more disciplined. You got to learn how to attack one half of the guy. You can't be just running into the guy and pushing him back. Come on. Kids do that in high school, man. Come on.
Hey, I want to get this last one here again. I want to reiterate, and I want to get you on record here.
Mm-hmm.
When Frank Reich, who we had on again, just to get you on record here, he said he was offered a consultant role. He didn't want to be the OC role, but they were carving out a role for him in the coaching staff. Does Gary Cobb believe that was going to be a guy that, in case Kevin Patullo was not going to succeed, that was a guy that because Frank would have another voice who was a Frank Reich guy in the building for them to go to if this thing wasn't going well in the passing game? Because I'll say this to you, Kevin Patullo was here last year.
Yeah.
Frank's known for passing the football. He's known for those RPOs on what he did with Wentz and what he did with Rivers. I mean, that would have been some tandem of him having that guy in that building there with him. Do you believe that Nick and the organization was potentially hedging their bets of putting him in there over Kevin Patullo just to make sure? Because, again, you elevated a guy who'd never been a play caller before in Brian Johnson. They've got a track record of doing that.
Yeah, well, I think that, it would take some, confidence on Patullo's part not to be bothered by that. But clearly he was there as to have another voice in the room, meaning like you got a guy who's got ideas, and so he was going to be there and having it really maybe helping Patullo some, but clearly there as another set of eyes, got ideas, another brain there, another offensive wizard there looking over things. That's definitely what he was going to be.
Gary, I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. Catch up with you soon. Thank you, Gary.
Right,
you got it. That is my friend Gary Cobb. How many people believe that? I mean, you were hedging your bets. I think you're hedging your bets when you do that. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Still got a ton of stuff to get. I haven't got to my Eagle questions and where I'm looking at right now, 17 days out from the NFL draft. Also, my NFL, I got some more bold predictions on that. The top moves so far this offseason, I'll give you my takes on that. Also, options at number 32. We will take a look at that. Don't forget my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in the country, with thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. By the way, I've been talking with John Morgan the last 3 or 4 days. He is so thrilled to death. I think Dan Morgan, his son's coming on in the morning, and he was up at Michigan this past week talking to kids up there about the NIL program. And Dan Morgan, who is going to have the company, ended up handed down to him. His mom, Ultima, and them are going to have Dan run the company here in a couple of years. So Dan's going to be the new face of Morgan & Morgan real soon. He's going to join us. I think that's tomorrow or Wednesday. So we'll talk to him. You talk about another impressive guy. He's that as well. Make sure you check him out, folks. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. I'm telling you, without a doubt, this will be the easiest decision you ever make if you need an attorney that will represent you with a track record of getting for over $26 billion in recovery for their clients. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales here, National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Please hit the like button. Thanks again, guys. Give me a total on the likes. We appreciate that very much. Again, you guys have been great. I thought it was awesome, that interview with Frank, giving us a little bit of insight here today. So if you give me a total on where we are in the likes, we appreciate that. Again, thank you guys again for coming aboard. You've been absolute. 175. Let's see if we can get that bad puppy up to 250. That would be absolutely great. All right, we're gonna hit on those topics that I said here in a minute. Also, we'll do the national title game tonight. If anything we learned, great coaching with 2 minutes left in the game. Duke on Saturday showed you why they missed Coach K. Okay? They showed you why they missed Coach K. Tight situations, you ended up not getting the proper coaching down the line. That has to be one of the absolute biggest gags I've ever seen Duke basketball. That was just absolutely a gag. They gagged that game away. Kelvin Sampson's too good a coach. Great job by him. By the way, tonight, I'll do it now. I got Houston winning the national title. If you think I'm going to sit here and root for the Gators, you'd have another thing coming. That ain't happening. I'm not rooting for Gators in anything. That ain't happening. So I'm going for the Houston Cougars tonight. I know Howie must be rooting for the boys tonight because he's an alumni of Florida. But if you think Big Sil's Miami Hurricane wearing this is going to be rooting for a Florida Gator tonight, that ain't happening. Hit the like button. All right, guys. I appreciate you coming aboard. One more thing, too, also on Gretzky and Ovechkin. I thought that was awesome this past Saturday. Hockey's the best. You earn your C or your A that you put on your sweaters. You earn that. And other sports, they sew those things on and just hand them captain or assistant captains. Not in hockey. In hockey, you earn that. Okay? You earn that stuff. It's one of the best sports there is. Great to see Ovechkin getting all the accolades. Hell, even Putin threw it up on Twitter. Congratulations to the of Alexander Ovechkin. I'm like, wow. This guy's got Putin also throwing love at him. Before you know it, hey, he's going to be a spy for, according to some in our country, Ovechkin's a spy. Yeah. Hey, tune in to CNN or MSNBC. Alexander Ovechkin, the new Russian hoax. Ovechkin's now a spy. Oh, man. Congratulations. I kid you. All right. Hey, another one before we get to the Eagle topics here. So Trey Lance is now a new member of the Los Angeles Chargers. This guy was the third player taken in 2021. He's cost 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick with the Cowboys, and he's working on his third team in 3 years. Sounds like he's got things rolling. Never draft a guy from North Dakota State. And I did say North Dakota. Have to put the East Coast slang in there. North Dakota State. Don't ever do it. He's been on 3 teams now. Niners, Cowboys, and now the Chargers. You watch what Jim Harbaugh does to him. He turns him into Colin Kaepernick. I'll bet you anything that Jim Harbaugh has that guy looking like Kaepernick. Okay? And I bet you anything he hires Colin Kaepernick to work with him. You watch. As a consultant? All right. These are some of the things that I want to see and that I'll be focused on with the Eagles. These are my focuses for the Eagles. What I will be keeping an eye on. And I started them. Let me get to this here. I got the best moves. Here we go. Eagles off-season focuses. Okay? We did edge. We did offensive guard. We did safety. Here's the next one. Eagles have not been very active in free agency when it comes to bringing in quality players. They have a high volume of players they bought in, but that's not high quality. Just because you sign a shitload of edge rushers doesn't mean it's high level. These are all guys who have underachieved in their careers. Every one of them that you've brought in have underachieved. Every single guy. Zach Bond didn't underachieve in his career. The Saints had pegged him to be a special teams guy, even though they drafted him in the 3rd round. They just didn't coach him. This is different with him, with these guys. These other guys were high draft picks and given opportunities to succeed, and some of them paid well. Just because you sign a lot of guys doesn't mean they're high-level guys. I don't think you've been very active in free agency whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think it's been the opposite. Get this. It doesn't mean they won't overachieve with the Eagles either. So let me ask you this. Most of these guys will be under third team. Chris, you're under the belief that you believe these guys that they brought in are going to overachieve because they're on the Eagles with lesser talent on this defensive team that you had a year ago. Is that right? I don't love any of these guys. Not one, maybe a Dory Jackson. The rest of them have all underachieved. Steve goes, why not? A year ago, you're leaning on Becton, Bond, and Barkley, correct? Okay. This year, you don't have the level of depth that you had a year ago when you brought those guys in. And every one of these guys have failed at their respective spots. Barkley was in a trash can situation in New York. Becton was on one team, the Jets. Bond was on one team. These guys have been on multiple teams prior to showing up in Philly. That's the difference. These guys have been given multiple chances with multiple places. But they're going to roll in here and become the number one defense. All right. I think the Eagles are expecting to fill their needs in the draft, not with these free agent guys. I don't believe one of those free agent guys is going to pan out except A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon's a good player. A.J. Dillon was cut loose by Green Bay because of injuries, not because of play. Every single guy you signed was cut loose because they underachieved. A.J. Dillon didn't underachieve. Get this. This is what you have to love about a shitty, stupid take. This guy thinks if you lose 5 players, 5 starters off your team, you're still the number one defense. It's an asinine take. That's like saying your engine's going to run the same if you take 5 spark plugs out of your car and you have the same performance. What a jackass take. You're still the king until someone beats us. Good one, Twiz. Typical Twiz. Hey, I don't care what it looks like. We're still the best. Sound like a 2-year-old. Hey, I don't care. We're still the best. I gotta love Twiz. Twizwa. Yeah. You know, you get 2 little kids fighting in the sandbox. I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. That's Twiz. How you doing? Yeah. Rashad Penny just needs to play like 5 downs, and he isn't the failure Penny was. Huh? Rashad Penny. Everyone kept telling me 6 yards of carry was really great. You know, I mean, he was really, I'm like, the guy's never going to be anything. I saw him at San Diego State. He couldn't beat out the kid they drafted in the 6-yard Carson in Seattle. He stunk. How you doing? All right. You know, expect to fill your needs. Goddard issue has to be addressed. Are you keeping him? Are you not keeping him? What are you doing? What are you guys doing at tight end? What's the play at tight end? What are you doing? I mean, where are you going? Right? Where are you going? If we get Walter Nolan and Landon Jackson, our defense improves. How do you know that from a draft pick? Yeah, you drafted Jordan Davis and he's underachieved. Come on now, guy. I don't expect the number 1 defense, but top 10 if it's achievable. Goddard, Eagle for life. Yeah. What's wrong? What's wrong with Ojalara? I don't know. That's the Giants. Then again, not that the Giants are making great picks these days. Hey, you're right. Anybody from New York, you do really have to question. Because what New York has done with evaluating talent, drafting talent, developing them, has been atrocious. Okay? It's been atrocious. All right. What are you going to do with Nakobe Dean on your defense? Mr. Paper Mache. What are you doing with him? Had a good year. He can play. I'm wrong. He can play. He can't stay healthy. And you're probably not going to get him for September. Do you need to address this in the draft? What are you saying? Okay. I think you got to address linebacker. I think we need another corner. How high? Nakobe Dean, new contract. Every year he's been an Eagle, he's been hurt. And he's ended up on IR the year. And you want to give him a 3-year contract. Talk about stupidity. Give a guy who can't stay healthy a contract. And then when you saw Oren Burks play, there was no drop-off. Yeah, that sounds good. He proved himself. He proved himself that he's always hurt. Hey, Sue, Dallas Goedert has also proved he can play. They're moving off him because he's too expensive and he's always hurt. It's not a talent issue with Dallas Goedert. Steve goes, he balled out. He was the Carson Wentz of linebackers for the Eagles, was he not? Steve, he was the Carson Wentz of linebackers for the Philadelphia Eagles, was he not? He didn't play in the postseason. He had nothing to do with the postseason play. Oren Burks stepped in like he was, I don't know. You say the name. He just stepped in. And he was the Carson Wentz of linebackers. Right? Oren stepped in, 45 tackles in the postseason, played his ass up. And Oren Burks was the Nick Foles of linebackers. I mean, I don't know. What else is there to say? What do you mean hate on the dude? Dude, I don't know him to hate him. Hey, Steve, I don't know him to hate him. I'm like you, dude. I don't sit there and look at him far and go, I hate that guy. Have you ever met him? No. What a stupid take, Steve. You hate people you never met? How's that possible? Steve, really? You're a guy that hates people you never met, right? What a stupid ass. How could you hate a guy you never met? I never got that. I can't stand that guy. What do you mean you can't stand that guy? Have you ever met him? No. Oh, okay. Yeah. One of my favorite. Those internet guys. Can't stand his takes. I hate this guy. You ever met him? No. Oh. Okay, so you're like 5. Steve, I thought you were more like 35. I didn't realize you were 8. Oh, man. Like, right? Oh, man. Okay, here's another one. Believe it or not, I think the Eagles need to build up their backup and their depth on the team. I don't think you have enough depth like you had a year ago. We need to draft a linebacker to be Dean's replacement. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And here's what I wrote down as position needs heading into the draft. This stuff changes because of where we're looking at with guys giving projections on where guys are going to go in the draft. Dude, I got edge 1. I got interior O-line. Why would I say interior O-line? Guard and center. Who's your backup center? Landon? I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay? I want to get a center and a guard. I don't probably center in the 5th. I could get a center in the 5th, and I could get a guard in the 2nd or 3rd because I need to put somebody over there. I'm not drafting a right guard at 32. That's not happening. You guys need to build your depth in your old lineup again. I don't think you have O-line depth. Who's your swing tackle? Who's your swing guard? Steen? Well, that's not good enough. I got safety 3rd. I've got tight end 4th. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's going to be drafting. Okay? Because the tight end position, I think, has to be addressed early in the draft in the first 3 rounds. That safety position has to be addressed. Interior defensive line has to be addressed. Yeah, that's what it was. Edge is 1, interior D-line is 2. Tight end is 3, safety's 4, interior O-line is 5. I've got OT at 6. I got corner at 7. 8, wideout. 9, linebacker. 10, running back. That's how I would look at it. That corner position, I think, is going to be interesting to see how the Eagles are going to deal with that. Replacing Slay, you don't have a guy on the roster right now to replace Darius Slay. What are you doing there? Where are you going? I think he makes a trade there. Okay? I think he makes a trade there. Because they need to find a corner. Okay? I think they do. I think they need to find a corner. Now, I want to do this one here, and then I'll do the NFL. I'll rank the top moves that we've seen so far and what we've seen in the offseason. But I want to give you guys some suggestions. 32. 17 days from now. What do you want to do at 32? Here's some suggestions. What's the best plan of action? Now, look, I say this all the time when you're sitting at 32. I think it's harder to sit there at 32 than it is at 1. You got the whole field in front of you at 1. Landing on the guy is impossible because there's so much more room for error at 1 than there is. There's more room for error with the first pick in the draft than there is at the 32nd pick. Do you understand that? You know, I hear people, and they're so uneducated. The more you get down in the draft, the less chance of failure you have. Why? Because best player available starts to weed itself. You're going to take the best kid available. You're not going to take a position of need. If you take a position of need and you start to get down into the bottom end of the draft and into the 2nd and 3rd, what's that do? So if you have a need at safety and you take the 7th best safety and you pass on the 2nd best O-lineman, what are you doing? I want the best players on my team. Don't ever draft after the 1st round by need. You got to look at the best guy that's on the board. And if he's not there at your position, trade out. I'm going to give you some suggestions on this. Because again, the more you pay, first, why in the world would you want to pay $30 million guaranteed for an offensive right guard when you can get that guy in the 2nd round with no 50-year option and the money's not guaranteed? It makes no sense. All right. Here's what I would do. Here's a couple options. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. Okay, on the table for you here. At 32, would you ever consider trading up to say like the Minnesota Vikings? And you send the Vikings your 32nd pick the 96th pick, and that 161 for you to move up to 24. That's about as high as I would move up to get a kid, especially after the first 12 picks. I don't think this is a great draft. I think after 12 to 15 picks, I think everybody looks the same. So if you're all going to move up, 24, 25 would probably be in the room that I would select. And so for me, what I'm thinking, if you were going to trade with the Vikings, just say the Vikings, you'd have to give your first round pick 32, the 96th pick, and the 161. That's what it would cost you to get up to 24. Something to think about to go get your guy. And Kyle says only if Mike Green's there. That's kind of right. Mike Green, if he falls there at 24, I don't really think there's, if Walter Nolan's there, would you go up to 24 to get him? I don't know. Seals, are you telling me I'm waiting all day just for us to trade out of 32? Maybe. That might be the best bet. Well, listen, here, this is where I'm going here. Here's the second one. Or you take Malachi Starks at number 32. He's the best safety. He is projected as a starter. And you have a need there. But as what I'm told by Alexander and John McMullen, they're not taking a safety there. Well, here, let me tell you why, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but let me tell you, because they're going by the actions and the behavior of the Eagles, and I get it. But if you're going to tell me I have a need, the best players there at that position in the draft, and I'm passing on him for the fifth best edge rusher at 32, how's that make sense? You're telling me I have to pick the fifth best guy versus taking a need and the best guy at that respected position group? That makes no sense. That group is a good group, but Malachi will have a higher number than the fourth best edge rusher or offensive lineman. That makes no sense. Here's another one. Trade the 32nd pick to the Giants. Why is that? I'm not talking about the Giants one. I'm talking about moving back in the draft to number 34. If your player's not there, look, like I said, do you understand after the first two D tackles, the first three edge rushers, the first four O-linemen, O-line, edge, O-line, edge, and DT. They all are the same. If you take a guy at 32 and the kid from Oregon or the kid from Michigan and the kid from Ole Miss are gone, the third best guy could be a guy that could go in the second or third round. He's the same grade. Why would I do that? I'm overdrafting. That doesn't make sense. So here, if I'm sitting at 32 and the board falls the way I think it is, I look at the Giants and I go, hey, especially if Sanders hasn't gone, I think there's going to be a lot of activity at 32 because of the quarterbacks and the desperate need for them. Follow me here. Giants pick Travis Hunter, whatever they are. What is that, the third pick? They get all the way down. Sanders tumbles down to 32. Giants go, and you say, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the 32nd pick. You move down to 34. And you end up getting more more picks, obviously, to move down. The Giants get their quarterback. You slide out to number 34, and you get another pick in the third round. You get a second and third for moving back to give the Giants the quarterback. And you don't have to pay anybody a fifth-year option. And at 34, you get your DT or your edge. You get Pierce. You get Sawyer. You get the 2 A&M kids, maybe. Especially if there's 4 quarterbacks go. Here's another one. How about the Saints? Jackson Dart. They need a quarterback. You're sitting at 32. They're at 40 in the second round. I don't know. I call up the New Orleans Saints. Hey, you want your quarterback? We have the 32nd pick. Sanders is there. Dart's there. Maybe even Jalen Milroe. By the way, Jalen Milroe just accepted an invitation to go up to Lambeau. He's expecting to get drafted on the opening day. I mean, so you're saying, I think you're going to have a lot of buyers. You may have more buyers at 32 than the Tennessee Titans have at 1. I mean, you might have, because there is a need for quarterbacks in this league. I personally think these quarterbacks in this draft are not great. I mean, I don't see it. But you're saying you're to Howie. You're sitting at 32. The Saints call you. Kellen Moore. Hey, Howie, how you doing? All right. What do you guys want to do? I'll give you the 32nd pick. You give me another 2 and a 3, or 2 and a 4. You guys can have the 32nd pick, and you can get the dream of your life, Shadur Sanders, or you can get Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe might be exactly what Kellen Moore's looking at. Why? Look at what he just did with Jalen Hurts. Don't you think he could get that same kind of production out of a guy like Jalen Milroe? Saints at the 39th. I thought it was the 40th. My bad. Pick off. All right. Or how about this one? You go to the Raiders. Raiders have the 37th pick. Hey, you need a quarterback. There's no Aaron Rodgers in that building. You got Geno Smith. Maybe the Raiders want to get a wideout to put there with Geno. I don't know. Running back. Offensive tackle. Raiders need players. Raiders are sitting at 37. Giants are at 34. Saints are at 39. Pick one of those 3 teams, and you can move out of the first round and get multiple picks, quality picks. Let me say this to you. Would I rather have 2 second-rounders and 3 third-rounders than the 32nd pick in the draft? Yeah. The 32nd pick in the draft is going to land you a good player. Trading out is going to fill multiple holes at a rookie contract level. Here's Forrest Hill. I don't believe this will happen because I think the kid's too good. Okay? I do. I think the kid's too good. I don't buy it. I think he's going to go high. But if that kid tumbles down to the bottom of the first round, and I don't want to draft a linebacker in the first round, you know what I do at 34? 2 picks away? I take the Giants pick, and I give the Giants my 32nd pick, and I draft that linebacker in the top of the second round. Put him right next to Zach Bond. And then with the third rounder, I get Harold Fanning from Bowling Green. You could fill multiple holes with that one move. I think this is how he's going to operate. Look, these free agents you sign, they're going to kind of help your team. But those guys are more for the 90-man roster June 1 you have to have going into training camp. You're going to solidify your football team and what you do right now. Okay? Because if you move back to the Giants, and I'm just using the Giants, you got no intel. At 34, I grab my linebacker. I grab an edge. Maybe one of those. I get the additional third. And that third pick, I get my safety. That extra third rounder. I think it's more important because you're at 32. If the number one guy is not there that you want and covet, I'm using that to fill multiple holes. Depth in my O-line, depth at my interior tackle, depth at tight end, depth at linebacker. I need a corner depth. This draft, in my opinion, is for that. The next year draft, I think it's going to be more for finding positional guys that you're looking to replace. I got another thing here that I want to throw at you guys, which may be a little bit hard for you guys to swallow here. So again, I like that all that movement there at 32 with the Giants at 34, the Raiders at 37, and the Saints at 39. Now follow me here. What's coming up on the horizon next year? That's Jalen Carter's contract. Also, you're forgetting another one. Who else's contract? Cam Jurgens. Cam's going to be $20 million. $18 million? Somewhere in there. Carter could be anywhere from 35 to 40 million. So you're going to have to pay nearly $60 million a year in contract with Jalen Carter and Cam Jurgens, right? Those two contracts. And God forbid, Nolan Smith plays great. Gives you 12 and a half. What are you going to do? You got a 3-year contract. You have to extension, have to hand him. What are you doing there? He's going to command north of 25 million. Am I right? Hey, let's do this. Let's play devil's advocate here and say everybody plays great. You guys repeat as Super Bowl champions. Okay? You're going to pay Nolan Smith $25 million. You're going to pay a Cam Jurgens 18. Shit. You don't pick the option up. And what if Jordan Davis has a career year? 7 sacks. Then you're going to be talking about another $20 million guy. Right? I'm not saying all this happens. I'm just saying I'm going with you guys. You saw what the Eagles have done this year. The Eagles have been frugal in money. Not that they don't have it, but they're delegating who they're paying. They've said it publicly. We're paying our younger players. Am I right? Right? So, follow me here. That Ibuka kid at Ohio State. What's his name? Amika? He's a great-looking player. I don't think you're going to get that McMullen kid from Arizona. He's going to go with probably top 5. How about at 32? You draft a wide receiver. Follow me here. Dude, the next guy off the books is AJ at $35 million. You can't afford all these guys unless you're going to let guys walk on defense. Right? Someone's got to go. This past year, you let and many players off that number 1 ranked defense. AJ has to go. Who's Jahan Dotson? Never heard of him. Okay, I mean, do you start the process of replacing A.J. Brown by drafting a wideout down there because of the finances that are coming? Trade A.J. Owens. Hey, and you still have him at value. Right? You're not going to keep all these guys. So then, and if you go by their words, they said this. If you go by their words, we're making room for all of our younger players. That has nothing to do with A.J. Brown. Right? That has nothing to do with it. A.J. Brown's not part of the future when it comes to money. He's going to be used to leverage these other kids. Hey, look, somewhere you got to balance the checkbook. I'm just going by what they're doing now. I'm following what they're doing. That Ohio State kid would be a great replacement. The kid's good. He's a really great, I thought he had a great postseason too. And you get him on a rookie contract, which means, let me tell you, I think we're going to know about the direction of the Eagles, what they do at 32. If they take that DT at 32, there's not a chance in hell that 50-year option or an extension, I should say, an extension is coming for Jordan Davis. If they trade out or if they draft a wide receiver, they're preparing to move on from AJ. Just makes sense. AJ just signed a 3-year extension last year, guaranteed a boatload of money. And you could defer that money too. Unlike some idiots that were in here when they said you can't be and you can't defer money. You can. Shit, they ate on the. They got $65 million right now in dead cap money. $65 million. They're third in the league right now. They ate a $36 million contract with Carson Wentz. Next year makes it easier. I'm not talking about, now again, I'm not talking about trading him now. I'm talking about in 26. Okay? Dude, he is A.J. Owens. He's a moaner and a whiner. He's a great player. Most wide receivers are moaners and whiners. Look at you, M. Reyes. You're a moaner and a whiner too. Love having you in here. You moan and whine too. You know, you can moan and whine and be a great player. Just like M. Reyes. Look at him. He cries all day long. This guy needs a tissue for all the issues he has. Guy whines more than my dog. John said $18 million for Davis. You pay him that? Never happened. I'm not paying that. $18 million for a guy who plays 20 snaps? No, thank you. He does have a role on this team. Not at 18, though. So wait a minute, Forrest. Let's do this. You think they're going to pay $20 million for Jordan Davis and $40 million for Jalen Carter next offseason? Keep poking the bear. Dude, you're a gummy bear. Don't kid yourself. You're a gummy bear. You ain't no bear. You're an otter. This guy, hey, M. Reyes thinks he's some lion or something. You're an otter. Yeah. The guy talks like he's a lion. You're a lion, all right. You're a sea lion. You're like an otter. Okay. Keep poking the bear. Yeah, gummy bear. No. Sills, what does the draft class look like next year? Draft class is great next year. Okay, I think the draft class, especially with Arch Manning at the top of it. Arch Manning's the prize. He's the prize next year. Okay? What a gummy bear. If you take a wide receiver at 32, AJ, I forgot about that, Sam. Holy shit. If the Eagles took a wide receiver at 32, holy cow. The amount of pouting that would go on. Shit, you thought push-ups in Terrell Owens' driveway was something special. This guy might be walking a tightrope out front of NovaCare. if you guys draft a wide receiver at 32, this guy will need a shrink. It's okay. You're making $35 million. You're guaranteed that money. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, there he is, the otter. 12 to 15 million could be a 2-3 year deal. I'm not signing that guy to that money, man. He's underachieved. Okay? He's underachieved. 12 to 15 million. Hey, boy, man, it must be nice to play for the Eagles. I only have to play 20 plays a game. Hey, Joe Krause, I got an idea for you, Joe. Are you ready? Guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Let's get this thing up near 250, please. Hey, Joe, I'm only going to do 30 minutes. I want you to pay me to sing. We're good? All right. I'm going to work 20 minutes today. Yeah, I'm going to work 20 minutes a show from now. Only 20. What the hell? You know what? I deserve my options too. You know, I'm going to go. What do you say, Joe? Right? I'm going to work 20 minutes a day instead of 4 hours. Give me 20 minutes. Give me a raise too, by the way. Go, wait. Give me a raise. I'm only going to work 20 minutes. That's what Jordan Davis does. Yeah. I will not divulge that because Joe Krause will have me punching up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Who would have ever thought I'd tune on my guy, Xander Krause, and watching the show with John McMullen. I tune on that shit, and I go, I can't believe what I'm looking at here. This is not good. Xander's, I'm watching John and Xander more. Crazy. Good job, guys. Can put part of Davis's money for Reed. Reed who? Reed Blankenship? Dude, Reed Blankenship. I'm not paying that guy. Are you paying? Hey, Eagle Mike, you think you're playing Reed Blankenship $18 million? He's not that. You think he's Bates? Reed Blankenship? No, thank you. Okay. No, thank you. We can draft a nose in next year's draft and plug him in. Shit, you could take a guy in the third round, that kid from Indiana or the kid from Nebraska, put his ass in there and get the same production you're getting out of the guy you got now that you want to pay $18 million for. Dude, are you not watching your general manager? Are you not watching him? How he's spending and not spending? He's signing spare parts, and he's going to retool in a draft. What are you missing? You're making more of these moves. You have the damn coordinator sitting at a Phillies game. Oh, by the way, I know, hey, one of the great predictions of all time that I heard was that Joe Krause said that Joel Embiid would be a turd 5 years later. Well, he is. I'm going to make another prediction for you, too. You know that great World Series series you took from the Dodgers this past weekend? Rob Thompson will be fired by the end of the year. You know why? Because no matter what you do in April, okay, nothing's going to fix that shitty bullpen. It's a shitty bullpen April 7th, and it's a shitty bullpen October 7th. Hey, by the way, is today the day that Henry Aaron hit 715? April 7th? Or was that the 5th he did that? I think Aaron hit the 715 bomb today off Al Downing. Was it today he did that? Down in Atlanta? I thought he broke the record today. I don't know. It just popped into my stupid head. Let me tell you something. I could probably sit around doing Trivial Pursuit. I've got the most useless knowledge of anybody on the planet. If you're paying anyone 18, it will be Nolan. Well, we'll see. Nolan Smith has had half a season. They may need to pay him. I'm not saying you're wrong, Chris. They may need to pay him. Absolutely. Okay. The 8th. Thanks a lot. Okay, so it's tomorrow. He hit 7:15. I thought it was around here somewhere. One of the greatest things I ever had, brother Hannibal. My wife put on Henry Aaron on my radio show when I was doing national radio for Fox Sports Radio Network. My wife goes just like this. She was the producer of my show for like 15, 18 years, whatever it was. She goes, I have Henry Aaron at his BMW dealership. Do me a favor. He's eating ribs. Try not to upset him. Go ahead. I'm like, you have Henry Aaron on. I go, yeah. So I interviewed Henry Aaron. My wife called him up at his BMW place. He owned it, obviously. And I interviewed Hank Aaron. My wife, tremendous producer. Then I think the Eagles get a tight end. I think they do too. Second round. I don't believe they're going to spend, unless that kid from Michigan or that kid from Penn State falls down there. They're not going to take the Fanning kid, the kid from Miami, until they get to the second or third round. That's right. I mean, the kid from Penn State is a good player. I think he's a sandbox guy. Nolan played more than a half season than Davis in his career. Are you talking Walter Nolan? He's just not very productive. Jordan Davis has never been a productive player in his entire career. I don't get it. I don't get how he got drafted. He got drafted just on his look alone. He was not productive at Georgia, and he was not productive so far here. Now, they put him at nose, and he's played better because they limited him. He's not asked to play a 3 technique. He's not asked to play in a 1 shade or in a 3 technique, which is a 1 technique. You only have 1 gap in a 3 technique. And they put him at the nose. Actually, moving Jordan Davis to nose is like moving a left tackle to right guard. That's what that's equivalent to. Okay? Sills, I sound crazy, but I think the Eagles trade Goddard and pick up a right end. Fat Cat, I'm hearing the Chargers would like to trade for him. And if I'm the Eagles, I'd want to get him out of the NFC because I wouldn't want to see him land in Chicago, or I wouldn't want to see him land in Los Angeles with the Rams. Chargers, I'm good. Okay? It may not show up in the stat book. That's not what we're talking about here. Twiz, answer your own question. Do you believe they're going to pay $20 million to a nose tackle and then turn around and pay Jalen Carter 40? No. You're not thinking. And by the way, don't ever compare Jordan Davis to Vita Vea. He's not. He's a better player, Vita Vea. That's a 4th-round kid. Okay. So wait a minute. Making a number up. Right now, the 5th-year option's $12.5 million. Okay? That's not made up. He's a 3rd-tier guy on a 5th-year option. There's 3 tiers. Do you know how this thing even works, kid? I'm not explaining it. Go read a book. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. Vita Vea's got a Super Bowl ring too. All right. No, you're right. I'm sure they're going to pay $60 million for 2 guys inside. Sure. I'm almost positive they won't. And get this. This guy's saying stats. No, I'm talking about 20 reps. If you've noticed, folks, I never said anything about statistics. I said he can't play more than 20 reps. What a doomcough. Twiz a doomcough. Nobody was talking stats. Only he hears stats. I didn't say anything about sacks, tackles. How about 20 plays? What a doomcough. Oh, man. Only Twiz can bring it to the house like that. Yeah, there he is, Twiz. Another otter. Another otter. All right. Oh, boy. Oh, man. It can't get any better. Okay. You're great. Oh, man. What an otter. You can't deny that Davis occupied. I could get someone else in the 4th round to do that. Do you think the Giants draft Abdul Carter? Kayvon Thibodeau be on the trade block. They're not taking that. They're going to take Travis Hunter. They need secondary help. They don't need edge help. They've got the kid Lawrence at the nose. They've got Burns, and they got Thibodeau. Thibodeau's a good player. They don't need Abdul Carter. You put Travis Hunter there. That's where I would go. And if Travis Hunter's not there, they'll probably draft Shadur Sanders. Okay? They'll probably. Yeah, hold on. Hey, get this, Joe Krause. This guy calls me Mozzie Sileo. I call you Harry Mays Twiz. Harry May. Here's Harry Mays. This is his. What do you guys call it? What's that thing called when you got multiple accounts? Twiz is Harry Mays. Man, what do you got? Secret accounts? What do you guys call that? Those burner account. There you go. Here's Harry Mays right here. Oh, wait. This is Jody. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Omar, you're not paying $20 million for a part-time player. That's right. That's right. Okay. Like Hunter next to Neighbors and Hyatt, but he's a better corner. It's a door to Dallas. Ugh. Here's the deal, though. Again, remember something with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter won the Biletnikoff Award, which I voted for, top wide receiver in the country. That was a hobby of his. He's a corner. He's a great corner. He's not a receiver. Now, putting him in special packages to put him out there and play him outside of Neighbors, you'd have to defend him because he's so good and gifted. He's a gifted player. Shadur to Dallas. And what are you going to do with that no trade clause contract of Dak's, Forrest? Dak could look at you in the face and go, I'm not going anywhere. Do you understand guys like Jalen Hurts and Dak who have that no trade? You want to trade me? No, thank you. They have complete control of their destiny. Hey, you can sign Shadur Sanders all you want. Dak Prescott goes, I have a no trade. You know what that means? For the next 4 years, I'm your dance partner, whether you like it or not. You could draft 10 quarterbacks in the first round. It won't matter. Jalen Hurts has a failsafe in Philly. If he stunk this year and you wanted to move off him, you couldn't because he has a no trade in his contract. It's like Twiz. Twiz has a no trade here with our show. I can't do shit with this guy. He's here every day. I can't do anything with this guy. and he's just here. I'd like to trade him, but I can't. It's just no way. I'd like to trade him for Brunson Burner or whatever that guy's name is, but I can't. He's just here. He's just here. I cannot get rid of this guy. As much as I try to trade Twiz, and I try all the time, hey, I got a deal on the table. You know what Twiz comes back? He says, eat it, Sileo. Not going anywhere. All right. So I'm like Dak. You know, I'm like the Cowboys. I can't do anything with them. Yeah. Only the people in this place understand big cells. That's why we're not going nowhere. I may be doing shit. Oh, by the way, you know, I'm probably going to, I'll say it now. I'm going to be doing a radio show down in Tampa. And boy, let me say this. Joe Krause will like this. Hold on for a second. Okay, scoreboard 1. Yeah, iHeart. Scoreboard 2. The Tampa Tribune. Scoreboard 3. Aaron Andrews. Her dad's an anchor. You know why her dad's an anchor in Tampa. That's where this whole thing started. Oh, man, I got a scoreboard a mile long. How you doing? All right. I will give you some of my offseason moves here in a second here, but I got to do this here with John Morgan. Got to pay some bills here, man. I think Dan's coming on tomorrow, and I think I just confirmed it with Dan Morgan. He was up at Michigan, like I said. I think he was up there with Tom Brady, believe it or not. And they were talking to all the athletes up there about the NIL and what it's done to college football and what it's done to college sports. And we're very excited about having Dan on, and also the fact that Morgan & Morgan sponsors our show. Can you believe it? When John Morgan was on, they spend $180 million a year in advertising. And they've chosen our show as one of those. Little old Dan. Boutique JAKIB. How great is that? And they are the number one injury law firm in the country with thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. They sit there and make sure that families get what is rightfully theirs when insurance companies like to come in and just undermine families all across the country. You see what they're doing in California right now? With all those fires that happened, a lot of people were uninsured. Morgan & Morgan went in there and went, just because you don't want to pay premiums and these people were paying on their insurance, you think that's legal? John's already getting reparations for those folks when it comes to people who were declined in their insurance and have lost their homes. They're getting all kinds of recovery right now with over $20 billion in recovery. This is what they do, the number one track record in the country. As I said, with over 1,000 attorneys from coast to coast. Do me a favor, if you ever are injured in any way, physically, mentally, what have you, Morgan & Morgan is there for you. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Skills National Football Show. You guys have been great. Please hit that like button. Tonight, hopefully Olajuwon will not be unrecognized by the security there at the Final Four. How could a guy live in San Antonio and not know who Hakeem Olajuwon is? Hakeem wanted to go up on the stage and celebrate that they won their semifinal Final Four game. Olajuwon had been in a couple championship games himself with the Houston Cougars. They got upset by NC State, and I think they got beat by Georgetown. I think that's how that worked. Maybe Carolina, I think it was. Anyway, so he tried to get up on stage. Security's like, sorry, sir. The guy's 7 feet tall, and he's a king. I mean, guy's one of the 3 greatest centers in the history of the sport. I've got Houston winning this thing tonight. How do you not recognize Hakeem Olajuwon? I mean, right? There he is. He's sitting there, and you're like, come on, dog. You got to let the guy think. You see the president of the university had him. He goes, it's Hakeem. The guy's like, no. You're like, look here, guy. You're going to be guarding a tadpole Final Four if you don't get that guy up on that stage. All right. Man, we got a ton of stuff still to get to here, man. We got a lot of stuff to come out tomorrow. I know that John Gruden's trying to find a day for us this week. I know that. I know Bruce Arians as well is trying to find some time as we talk about the upcoming draft. So we're working on those guys this week. We've had a bunch of great days of great guests, and we appreciate you guys. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button. We will see you tomorrow. Big Joe, thank you. Xander, thank you very much. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.